In protest, I'm going to pretend like I'm not here.
Good morning.
I knew it. I knew it. You couldn't pretend like you're not here.
Good night.
Because we all know if you were not here, that clip's not getting played.
Nope.
Exactly. Ladies, gentlemen, boys, girls, children of all ages, welcome in the midweek edition of the Rob Brown radio program. Starts right this very second. Hello to you, and how do you do? Upstate South Carolina. Hello, America. What up, world? It is great to be with you, my dudes, my dudettes. What a day we got lined up for you, and we are not celebrating a Stanley Cup championship tonight because the Edmonton Oilers did what the Dallas Mavericks could not and have now closed the gap from 3-0 to 3-2. And more importantly, now they look like the better hockey team in this Lord's Stanley Cup Finals. Now they look like the team to beat, and we are going to talk some hockey on the radio program today, because if you're not watching the Stanley Cup Finals and you claim to be a sports fan, I'm going to tell you why you're missing out. I'm going to tell you why, respectfully, you're doing it wrong. Even if you're not a big hockey guy, you should still be watching because, man, I've said it before. I'll say it again. There is no better postseason than college baseball, but there is nothing more electric in all of sports than the Stanley Cup playoffs. Nothing. There's nothing. There's nothing that will have you on the edge of your seat for as many minutes as the Stanley Cup playoffs do, and we will talk about that later in the show. If there is one thing that is as electric as the Stanley Cup playoffs, it is only the thrilling sounds of the great Lonzo on the radio. Hello, Lonzo.
Hello.
How's it going?
I am wonderful. Thank you for asking.
You're very welcome. It's my pleasure. That's a wonderful new Ninja Turtle shirt that you are rocking today.
Thank you.
Is that recently added to the collection?
Recently, as in yesterday?
Yeah.
Yes.
See, I notice things.
It doesn't be the last thing you notice all day.
I notice things. I notice thing. Sometimes I notice thing. Lonzo is upset because we had the opportunity to be off today. Rob Brown said, "Now we're gonna work. We're gonna work. We're gonna show up. We're gonna do our damn jobs. That's what we're gonna do."
Yeah.
He says, "Yeah," because that's true.
I had nothing to add. I mean, it's we were just discussing this. Yeah. Hey, we're here. We might as well do a show.
We might as well do a show. You're not wrong. And what a show, my friends, it's going to be. We have many, many things to discuss, to debate, to consider, to critique, to comment, to compliment. I would like to start, and we don't need to spend a ton of time on this. Those of you that get it. Those of you that won't. I will simply say, and then we will move on. I have to apologize to Joe Hendry because we just didn't believe hard enough. Okay? We just did. It's our fault. We didn't believe hard enough.
Hey, man, I couch popped, so I believed, I was actually on a chaise lounger. But it's still, you know.
You were on a chaise lounger.
That's French.
I mean, I know what it is. I've owned many chaise loungers. I just found, of all the people that I know, you are the one that I would never think would utter the sentence, "I was reclined on a chaise lounger."
Do you know who I am? I mean, I deserve a chaise lounger.
Effectively a fainting couch. Listen, I respect the hell out of it.
No, most sectionals, when you buy a sectional, they're built into. I mean, that's one of the part of the sectional.
Can I tell you, the couch revolution we are going through right now, huge fan, okay?
I'd be
Huge
more
fan.
of a fan if I could afford one of the cool ones that are coming out.
Same
that
here.
have Wi-Fi in them.
Speakers in them.
I want all that.
There's one that I am trying to, I'm like, hey, instead of going on our annual international vacation next year, right? Like this year, no international vacation for us this year because we're getting married. We're putting all the money into that because we want to throw a rager, right? So next year we would go on the international. I'm like, yo, hear me out. We can go on an international trip for a week. Fun, awesome, amazing, incredible. I love traveling. That's one of the things that the fiance and I bonded over is we both like going other places, right? We can go on another international vacation. And I'm not saying that would be bad. It would be amazing. Or we could take all that money and we could dump it into this couch because I found one great one that not only has...
Does it rhyme with Love Shack?
It does not.
Okay, because...
It does not. It's even fancier than that. This one has speakers built into the couch, but they're everywhere. So you got speakers on the armrest on either side. It does have a chaise lounger on one end of it, right? It's the L couch, so that if you sit over on the other side, you can lay out on the couch, but it's got the speakers in. It's got speakers behind the backboard, and it's got the subwoofers under the seat. So when Optimus Prime breaks onto the scene, the whole couch rumbles, but wait, on top of that, on the top of the armrest.
Could be an added benefit to that, if I mean, I'm just,
I got to get a Bow Chicka Bow Wow sounder on my board. You got one. I got to get a Bow Chicka Bow Wow sounder.
No, I don't.
For exactly what you just did. On the armrest, though, it has on the armrest wireless cell phone charger. So you just set your cell phone on the armrest of the couch and it charges while you're watching Transformers. I don't know why I'm hooked on that movie right now. It was the best guy breaks through wall thing I could come up with, right?
See, I would have went with Star Wars, but Transformers works.
Star Wars is not bad, but like you don't usually when you get somebody coming through a wall in Star Wars, it's not like full on explosion.
No. Episode 4, New Hope. Just the very beginning when the ship comes on to when the ship comes on, there's a rumble that you can feel coming from behind.
Yeah,
and that would work really good on that.
Which
couch.
of course is the beginning of New Hope, a New Hope that was delivered by the rebels at the end of Rogue One.
Retcon.
Was not. What do you mean it was retcon? That's literally the canon of the story. How are we back here?
Right.
That is how Lucas wrote the story.
Because you went there.
Because I'm right. So
Lucas didn't write Rogue One.
Yeah, he did. He wrote what Rogue One turned into.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? They made an incredible moment. And Vader coming through that door and that red lightsaber lighting up. One of the greatest movie moments of my young career.
That's been one-upped a bunch of times in video games and in the Obi-Wan series.
No. Mike says, good morning, guys. Got a hockey series now. You're damn right we do, because much like Darth Vader at the end of the incredible piece of cinema that was Rogue One.
It was also on cinema.
We do have a hockey game now. The Edmonton Oilers, my goodness gracious, the special teams for the Oilers looks like they know what they're doing all of the sudden. Not only do they know it look like they know what they're doing. Here is a fun little fact. At the end of the first period yesterday, after the Oilers scored another shorty, a shorthanded goal for those of you un-hockey fans.
By the way, I'm not reading that. I already took that out. I'm not.
Why?
Because I'm not saying that. I'm not.
Why?
Because I don't talk that way.
But it's what it's called, a shorty.
Yeah, you're the only one I've ever heard say that. So
then you don't hang out with hockey people.
I don't.
You should. They're awesome. Especially Oilers Girl. Did y'all see Oilers Girl's Instagram yesterday?
No.
I kind of love Oilers Girl a little bit.
She's not really a girl.
What are you talking about?
I think she's like in her 30s, isn't she?
Oilers woman.
She looks like she's in her 30s. Okay. I don't know what that was.
Oilers woman.
Okay.
Oilers lady.
More like Peter Pan there.
Oilers man. This is Superman. How do you give me Peter Pan? That's the meanest thing you've ever said.
No, that's how Robin Williams did in Hook.
It's also what every Superman does.
No, it's not.
He hit me with "You look like Peter Pan." Damn,
Superman never does. You show.
I
want to see a picture or a video of Superman doing that.
Done. Next break. I'm on the hunt. Oilers lady.
Live action, not animated. Anyway, Oilers woman.
The overwhelming majority of Superman content is animated. The best of Superman's content is animated, either comic books or within any of the JLA animated canon.
Henry Cavill's amazing. I don't care.
I didn't disagree, but Batman v. All right, Texas says Rogue One sucked. Note, Batman v Superman sucked. Rogue One was amazing.
Batman v Superman did not suck.
It did suck. Martha, we're not going to fight anymore because our moms are both named Martha.
Well,
Martha.
When you're under the influence of dark side, maybe something emotional is what breaks you out of it.
Martha.
You know, you can make fun of that movie all you want.
I can, and I will.
Will not make Rogue One be a good movie.
Rogue One's an amazing movie.
Yeah. Okay.
Scotty from BMW texting in early this morning saying Rogue One sucked and you know it. No. Scotty from BMW, you suck. All right, you don't suck. You're an amazing person, Scotty, but that's a bad take. That movie's, I'm obviously joking.
I got your back. I don't know, man. I think there was some emotion behind that. I got your back, Scotty. And here's the thing. I mean, I believe in hope. I believe in happiness. Rogue One did not.
People believe in sacrifice for the greater good. These people laid their lives down for the benefit of the rebel cause, and it worked out well. It worked out exceptionally well.
I believe in hope, and I believe in Joe Henry.
They got hope. If they don't do what they did, the Death Star plans never find their way into the hands of Princess Leia and then are transmitted to Obi-Wan for delivery to the rest of the rebel. There's none of that. If it's not for Jen Erso, the entire rebel cause dies that day. That moment. It's gone. It's toast.
When it arrived in their pans, did they cook it up? We could have had a day off, Rob.
So, Oilers lady. I want you to know I pulled the audio from Oilers lady, and then I decided, I can't.
Why is it that infused with stuff?
No, she's an amazing person, and honestly, the world needs more
Does she have a high squeaky
leaders.
voice?
No, she doesn't. Her name is Kate. She is an oil field worker who is also an Oilers fan, which is awesome.
I saw a video without the sound on of her like underneath oil.
She is. Thing. She's on. She does this video from an oil field. So if you haven't heard the saga of Oilers, lady, it's 6:00. Let's just get the weird stuff out of the way, right? Here's what happened. A couple of games ago in the Stanley Cup, the Oilers were back at home against the Cats. They were playing very well. They had a big moment of enthusiasm and joy late in the game. The camera turned. Well, there's a social media. Somebody has a camera in the stands. Oilers lady, in a moment of raw exuberance and joy, decides she's going to lift up the Oilers jersey and show the goods to the crowd. And suffice to say, Oilers lady is well endowed, all right, gifted in that particular department.
Is she?
Well,
so you examined the video from many different angles.
I'm on social media. When boobies come out, they reach the internet. What do you want? That's just the way the internet works. Our algorithms are probably very different, if I had to guess.
Probably. Mine's mostly wrestling and video games.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah.
So are mine, and also boobies. So the young lady shows the world the gifts with which she was bestowed, and obviously the hockey dudes lost their minds over this gal, because on one hand, very attractive young lady, also a hockey fan. And as I know that my co-parts Diesel and Cole Money in the afternoon love to talk about.
No. Don't do the Cole Money thing.
Money and the D Train.
Please. Oh, come on.
The D Train and C Money, my co-parts in the afternoons, love to have the conversation about dating female sports fans or marrying female sports fans. It is
pale people should not walk around with those kind of nicknames.
D-Money and C-Train in the afternoons had this conversation about this lady. It's like, oh, you know, could you, what's more difficult? Dating a hardcore woman sports fan or dating a woman who's not a sports fan at all? And the answer is dating a woman who's not a sports fan at all, because the hardcore one, even if it's like a different way that you love sports, at least she gets it, right? So, Oilers lady.
Wait. So you're saying it's better to date someone who doesn't like sports?
No. I'm saying it's the exact opposite.
Okay.
It's way tougher to date someone who doesn't like sports.
Because you and I both are blessed with
1,000%.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have worked if it was the other way around.
My wife watches sports when I'm not there.
So we'll come back to that, because that discussion's been had on this radio station a million times. I want to talk about Oilers gal. All right. So Oilers
I'm trying
gal,
to keep you from talking about breasts more, but I can't.
Oh no, you can't stop me. That train is on the tracks, baby.
I can't.
When we come back, instead of the 30 seconds I was going to spend on Oilers lady, now Lonzo has set me up to do it for an entire segment on Oilers lady.
No, you won't.
He is going to do his damnedest to sidetrack me. But much like the men in the section when Oilers lady stepped onto the world stage, I will not turn my head from the focus, from the attention that this young lady deserves, rightfully has earned in the pantheon of sports icons. All right? Then after that, two big stories we need to talk about. And we will share those stories with you very briefly. Just enough to see those stories, and then we move on. All right? Oilers lady, the saga of Kate, the Oilers girl, when we come back on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
Well, Nolan, they won't be here today, but we're here because Rob wanted to work. Just answering a listener's question.
I know what you were doing.
Yeah.
I was going to play the audio, Nolan. I actually recorded the audio. I logged the audio. I had the audio. And then I decided not to. And I'll tell you why. Because I feel like I can do Oilers gal justice. But
so
that if
you're saying her voice takes away from
No. What I'm saying is she is very crass in the video, which I love and respect. But it was... She's very crass in the video. And I think a lot of people that would otherwise go, hey, whatever, she's having fun, would be like, oh, this lady's she's something. And she is.
So she sounds like a biker chick on Saturday night? Okay, all right. Not
she's
that
like,
I would know what that sounds like.
She's like, if you're judging me, bleep you. Like, no holds barred.
Enjoy your 15 minutes, lady.
Oh, she's enjoying it. She said, I got drunk and showed my bleeps at a hockey game. If you're judging me, bleep you. And it was beyond incredible.
Okay, it's not going to show up on the new phone. If it's not, then that's a problem.
Nolan, you can't fix her because there's nothing wrong with her. All right? She ain't broke. There ain't nothing to fix. She's a unicorn. She's the woman we all went for when we were young bucks.
Scam what activation barcode? Just trying to get on my email, and I got a new phone, and it doesn't want to. I didn't even want a new phone. Scam what code? I ain't got no code. I know I sound like an old man. Because I am.
Not only is there nothing wrong with it, Nolan, Big fan of the muscle mommies. Big Rhea Ripley guy over here.
When
I like that it's
when Liv
Wednesday.
Morgan is just so much better than Rhea Ripley.
No.
Any
She's
day.
absolutely not.
Was before and
Her
even more
promos
so
are
now.
incredible right now. I'll give her that.
I'm gonna do a Rob Brown thing. Most people would choose Liv Morgan over Rhea Ripley. I'm sorry. 99% of people would choose Liv Morgan over Rhea Ripley. Man, I hope I don't get an important email because I cannot figure out how to do this. I'm guessing, Chris ain't going to be here today because it's a holiday. I could be dealing with this like 2 hours from now when I got up. But no.
So the saga of Oilers lady, Kate, the oil field worker. If you missed the setup, a couple of days, well, I guess about a week and a half ago, there was an Edmonton v. Florida game in the Stanley Cup Finals. There was a young lady wearing an Oilers jersey who was knocking back a handful of White Claws. Ain't no laws when you're drinking the claws at the Oilers game.
Ask Mark with a C about that.
I got to tell you, I've kind of turned on the White Claws a little bit. Don't judge me. Don't judge me too harsh.
Except not lately, because that wouldn't. I mean, because you're trying.
You know what I mean.
Yeah, no,
you know what I mean.
I just want to make sure that they know that. Because,
once you know what I mean. So, was drinking some White Claws, right? And she got a bit exuberant, a bit joyful, inspired by the White Claws. She lifted her Oilers jersey and revealed a couple of bits of her anatomy to the world. And she became immediately an internet phenomenon. And nobody knew who she was. And then a handful of days ago, a couple of people found her. And they brought her on for an interview. And at the time, she didn't reveal who she was. And they said, "Hey, how'd this come about?" And she said basically something to the tune of, "What do you want? I'm an Oilers fan. It was a great game. We had a great moment. And I got a little caught up in the moment." They said, "Are you embarrassed?" And she's like, "Not embarrassed, but I did tell my family I was going to just move out into the woods. I was just out. I was just going to disappear for a little while because I didn't think it'd go like that." And okay, everybody was like, "All right, fine, whatever." And then people kept talking about her. People kept trying to find her. So she went on Instagram and outed herself. Not like she outed herself at the game. She outed herself on the internet. She revealed herself.
Was there further reveal? Or?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
Right.
She just came on Instagram and she said, "Hey, look, I'm a woman named Kate. I'm an oil field worker, yada, yada, yada." And then they got into the discussion, or she got into the discussion of her reaction to all of this. She said, "Look, it doesn't matter what you do." She said, "You can save a bunch of drowning kittens from a river, and there are still going to be people that dislike you, that are haters, man." Where's my Booker T clip?
Haters, man.
There it is. Some people are just gonna be
Haters, man.
Haters, man. She said, I got jazzed up. I got juiced up. I had my moment in the sun. She said, "If that is it, and you're judging me because of that, you," is what she said. And I pulled the audio, and I was going to play the audio from the Instagram, and I thought last minute, I'm like, no, you know what? I'm not going to do that. And I'm not going to do that, not because I don't think she deserves her time in the sun for being an American, Canadian hero. And again, let me be very clear before somebody.
Wait, she's not even from here.
She's from Edmonton, Canada.
Okay.
She's Canadian.
Why are we talking about someone from Canada?
Because the Stanley Cup Finals are on, and all of a sudden, the team from Canada has a chance to finally bring the cup back to the Great White North.
Anne Murray's from Canada. Why aren't you talking about her?
Anne Murray is from Canada. Why aren't you talking about her?
He doesn't know who that is.
I don't know.
Right.
Who
Celine Dion is from Canada. Why aren't you talking about her?
Is Celine Dion showing him at a hockey game?
I don't know.
I'll tell you what. Put Celine Dion front row at a hockey game and let her lose her mind, and we will talk about her. We talk about celebrities at games all the time. It's just that this lady has made herself a celebrity now. So, she says basically.
So strip at a public place and you're famous. That's how that works.
No, I think for me, what I love about it is that this lady was just out there having her best life. She didn't hurt nobody. There's a bunch of people who she should be arrested for that because she was out there having a wonderful time, and she came out and she said, "The haters."
What is public exposure? What is that?
At 11:30 at a hockey game, nothing.
Well, right? I do believe there are laws against what she did. She could have very well been arrested. Dude, but you're celebrating a lawbreaker.
No, what I'm celebrating is somebody that went out there and said, "The haters."
Lawbreaker.
I love it.
A lawbreaker. Okay.
I love it.
All right.
Blink the haters. Now, I subscribe to the theory of a victimless crime, okay? I subscribe to the thought of a victimless crime, and that was a victimless crime. But Kate, the Oilers girl, has picked up a few 100,000 followers yesterday.
So when Janet Jackson does it, and there's, all the repercussions of that, that's not okay. But this is.
I didn't say that.
Oh no, it wasn't.
Didn't bother me at all.
It absolutely was not okay. And
let's be clear. Let's be clear. What happened with Janet Jackson was not only, I think, obviously pretty scripted into that act, but Oilers girl was not on national television. This was a social media clip. This was not on TV.
Okay. All right.
This was somebody in the stands caught it on camera.
So we're talking about something that happened on the internet.
Yeah. Yeah. And people want this woman arrested and banned from NHL games.
She did break the law for sure.
I mean, again,
haters, man.
Leave Kate alone.
I just want to say that, the laws are there for a reason.
Some laws are bad laws.
Are they?
Yeah.
So this one, so people should just be able to go around and flash wherever they want.
It's 11:30 at a hockey game, right?
What does time have to do with it?
This is the equivalent of going, all those girls at Mardi Gras should go to jail. Nah, it's just kind of part of the culture in this one particular spot, and you kind of know that when you go in.
They are breaking the law, right?
Again, should we arrest every woman at Mardi Gras who gets a pair of beads? Is that a thing we should do?
Are they breaking the law?
That's a yes or no question.
Right.
Should we arrest every woman at Mardi Gras?
It is a yes or no question. Are they breaking the law? I asked the question first.
Should we arrest every woman at Mardi Gras?
Are they breaking the law?
I actually don't know in New Orleans. I actually don't know what the laws are there. I think they're suspended for 30 days through Mardi Gras season. There's no laws when you're drinking claws. The answer is there are spots that the culture is a wee bit different, and we turn our eyes just a little bit the other way, all right? And this is one of those. And I am going to say that while sports are for everyone, if you bring your kid to a hockey game that ends at midnight, you should expect that you're going to hear and see some things that you might not consider child friendly. That's part of the culture, man.
So this is a normal thing. It's a normal thing for flashing at hockey games after a certain time. So at 10 o'clock, is there a certain time for sure that you should watch out for flashing?
I do appreciate that every time there is a controversial thing, you begin demanding specificity. It's a wonderful tool in the toolkit.
Listen, Mr. Analytics, Mr. I need to know the numbers. I need to break everything down. I just want to know what the exact rule is.
I will say third period at an NHL Stanley Cup playoff hockey game, you're probably going to hear a couple of and see some things you might not see walking up and down the street leading up to the pregame.
So
yes.
Third period. So even if it happens like at 2:00 in the afternoon, third period is
because Stanley Cup.
Happen.
Stanley Cup playoff games don't happen at 3 in the afternoon. Stanley Cup playoff games happen at night, and the barn's going to be rocking.
You'd actually be able to watch the whole thing. So would a lot of people.
I actually am not going to argue that East time sucks. All right, it just is. It is literally, there is one thing and one thing alone that pains me about living here, and it's East Coast time. It probably wouldn't even be. Scratch that. It would not be that bad if I didn't have to get up at 4 a.m. But when I have to get up at 4 a.m., it is that bad.
You know what? You didn't today.
Listen, you say that now. You say that now. When you're not going to say it is next month on July 24th, a Wednesday, after we all lose it at a Creed concert, and you don't have to get up the next day. You're going to be like, Rob Brown, that was an incredible call.
By the way, I wouldn't have had to get up anyway because you're not going to be here, so we're playing network, so I wouldn't have had to be here.
You're welcome.
That's fine. So you choose what days we get to have.
Then let's rephrase
By the way, Nolan, chill out, dude. Rob's going to pay every single minute of this show today because I didn't have to work today, but he decided he wanted to. So there's that.
Just so we're clear, had I not done that, I would have had to work that day, which means you would have had to work that day.
No. You're trying to use today as an excuse for that when you have plenty of days you could have taken.
No, I don't. I have a wedding in September.
Yeah? Right.
Yeah.
And most people take off like a weekend for that.
A weekend. No, okay. Okay. Sorry, most people. Your boy's gone for like a week and a half when that happens. All right. Your boy is going to be gallivanting around the beautiful sunshine state of Florida. And at no point in that week and a half will there not be either a mimosa in the AM or a Bahama Mama in the PM to celebrate my nuptials.
So you won't be thinking, while I'm off a week and a half, the show doesn't happen for a week and a half. I wonder if I'm going to have a show to go back to. I mean, you wouldn't think that.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say, I get canned while I'm off on my wedding. I'm going viral when I get back, all right? It's one of the few times your boy's going to have some leverage. You going to can a man on his wedding day? Yeah, I'm going viral when I come back. No, I'm not worried about that. We both know our bosses are awesome people who aren't going to do that. Never would.
You know what? The thing is, they're not listening right now. You know why? Because today's a holiday.
Oh, so I can stop sucking up now?
Yeah, today's a holiday. They're off today. We're not because of you.
Creed. All right, Kate, Oilers girl, I want you to know that you have millions and millions of Oilers girl fans out here, all right? Millions of fans out here. We got your back, homie.
Prove it.
We got your back. I mean, there's two of us right here already, me and Nolan. Nolan right here already.
What the heck are you doing up, Nolan?
What are you doing?
I mean, look at the streets, Rob. What do you see out there? No, really, turn your head to the left. What do you see out there?
It is pretty quiet.
Yeah, there's hardly anything.
By the way, so that we're clear, sincerely, happy Juneteenth. All right, it is a big day in American history. It is an important day in American history. That is not debatable. Happy Juneteenth to you all. I will also tell you that a philosophy of the Rob Brown Show has been for many years that I work holidays because just because people are off doesn't mean that everybody is off. And if I can come in and work for you, I will.
All right, dude. I'm not working on Christmas. And you
I
know
didn't
what?
say Christmas.
You know what? Neither are you.
No, I'm not working on Christmas. I don't love you all that much. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
Hey, Rob, guess what day Christmas is on?
Wednesday?
Yes.
But do we get Christmas Eve off?
No.
That's corporate malpractice.
We used to, but after the merger, they stopped doing it because they made it up by giving holidays other places.
So we only get Christmas Day and New Year's Day off then?
Yes. I'll be on vacation, so I mean,
we'll see what I have left at that point. I think I'll have 3 or 4 left, so I'll probably take off because I usually try to save them. I'd rather save them around New Year's, honestly.
Well, I mean,
actually, I probably shouldn't because
you're still going to be here today after New Year's.
Well, no, because I'm thinking about it now. Our playoff games start on the 21st now, or the 20th, the 21st, or is it 20th and 21st?
I don't know.
It might. Well, I don't know. I'll have to look at the playoff schedule.
It's not gonna. How's that going to affect us?
I mean, I did not work through the college football playoffs last year. And I kind of felt when it was time to come back, I was like way behind. So I might.
Well, here's the thing. We'll be here on Thursday after New Year's Day, but
unless I take them off.
You can't, because that's the next year. You won't have any time accrued unless you can borrow for that year.
I have been allowed the last couple of years to float a day or two from.
I wouldn't say that here because according to Odyssey, you can't do that.
And by that, I mean to
stop. How about that? How about that? Should I call Chris and tell him I can't get into my email because I got a new phone?
Yes.
I know it's a holiday and I wouldn't be calling him, but Rob decided to work today, so I have to be here. And I'm afraid I might get an important email, and I can't get it.
Who's sending you an important email? Everybody's off, remember? That's what you said. Everybody's off. Who's going to be emailing you? Well, I'm the only person this morning to be emailing you.
You know what? Someone in the building might be emailing.
Who's in the building? Everybody's off.
No.
That's what you said.
All the full-timers are working.
You said everybody. So not everybody's off.
All right. Rob. Everyone on this station is off.
So not everybody.
But Will and Tim both have to work because our part-timers.
Because not everybody's off.
Because our part-timers said they can't work today. Because if they could work today, I would not be here. It's called seniority.
All right. Well, that part is not my fault.
You're right. It's not.
That part's not my fault.
But we wouldn't be having this conversation if you hadn't decided to work today, because you'd be asleep now too.
I have started to get to the point where, like, on Saturdays, I wake up at like 5:30, right? Like 5:30. I wake up at the moment that I wake up on weekdays and the panic sets in if I have slept through an alarm or it doesn't go off or whatever.
Wow.
But on Saturdays, I wake up at 5:30 and then I'm just right back out.
So I can't get into the one login thing on my phone that would confirm it. This thing?
Yeah.
And because of that, I can't get into my email. And if I'm going to say he were to email me, I could not answer said email. Although I haven't been texted, so I don't even know if my texts work. I think they do. No, something else that doesn't work is my Apple CarPlay, because
mine stopped working. This happened to you this morning.
Yeah, but I have a different phone with the jacks aren't the same, so I can't plug it into my car. I did get your text.
Okay. See, I cared about Lonzo enough to help him out right there. Okay, come on, man. Alarm. It was during the break.
Yeah, but technically it's still on the show. Because we're doing the show. By the way, we are live. We shouldn't be today, but we're live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and X, where Rob just alarmed us.
Alarm. I can't believe people are making fun of the way that I speak. I thought we were above that. I thought we were better than that around these parts, but I guess we're not.
I could say that this is just a dream you're having, but it's not. We're here.
This is just a dream. This is just a dream. That's me in the corner. Banger, another banger, man. On a roll to Sam. Hey, let's talk about this.
You would like that song.
That's me in the spot. So 93 years old legend Willie Mays passing away yesterday, just as Major League Baseball was set to celebrate Willie Mays and the history of the Negro Leagues as they get set to play a game in an iconic stadium over in Alabama. Willie Mays passing away yesterday evening, and I will say that there was a brief moment last night that I thought was phenomenal because the sports world as a whole seemed to come together last night. I was watching the Stanley Cup final last night when the passing of the Say Hey Kid was announced, and even hockey stopped what it was doing for a minute to discuss and to celebrate the life of the Say Hey Kid, Willie Mays, which I thought was great. The passing of Willie Mays was not just a moment in sports that I thought was poignant and I thought was important because, again, you saw the importance of Willie Mays, not just to baseball, but to sports at large last night. I mean, the fact that a hockey game, a hockey broadcast was interrupted to make sure that that moment and that life was celebrated gave you a pretty good indication. I flipped over as soon as that news was announced. I flipped over to a live stream of the San Francisco Giants games. Of course, Willie Mays, a giant of the Giants. He was the biggest and the most important, I would argue, of all time. I flipped over to that game. They were away last night at Wrigley Field taking on the Chicago Cubs, and you'd have thought that they were in San Francisco because the moment that it was announced, that stadium came to a hush. When they put Willie Mays' picture up on the Jumbotron, that stadium went remarkably silent. I checked in on it very briefly, the live broadcast of the Giants game, and you could hear the emotion in the voices of everyone that they brought on to talk about Willie Mays. When I remember growing up, I'll give you just the short anecdote from one Rob Brown. I remember growing up, obviously a baseball fan my entire life. And I think one of the reasons that America remains, even with the struggles that baseball has had over the years, be it lockouts or the steroid era or the juiced baseball discussion or whatever, baseball's had all these moments and all these controversies over the years, and yet baseball is always fine, right? Baseball never really goes away. It may have some dips, it may have some lulls, but it never goes away. And I think part of the reason for that is because, by and large, historically, just about everybody plays baseball growing up. Even if it's only for a year or two, just about everybody plays some iteration of baseball. They play T-ball, or they play coach pitch, or they play pitching machine, or they play junior league or little league or middle school ball or high school ball or travel ball or whatever. Just about all of us play some iteration of baseball. And even if you don't play it in an organized fashion, I think just about all of us, not all, but just about all of us, have had some version of taking a rock and a stick in the backyard, tossing it in the air, trying to hit it, and pretending like we are whomever when we do it.
Would you count softball in there?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely right, I would. And again, I think that is why, and I could be wrong about this, I don't have the numbers in front of me to back this up, but I think that if you were to go look at the sports that are most popular amongst women, it's either football or it's baseball. And I think a large part of the reason is baseball is one of the one of the most accessible sports to everyone, right? When you're a kid growing up, little girls can go out there and play t-ball with the boys. And when you are growing up, little girls can go out there and play Little League. And if it gets to a point where the physical differences between men and women begin to separate as kids hit puberty, we have softball. And little girls can go play softball. And there are, every now and then, there is a girl talented enough to jump up and play high school baseball. And I think that is kind of where that romance with baseball comes from. So as Rob Brown was growing up, I was a baseball guy, right? My grandpa, Bob Brown Sr., my grandpa and I would sit at the table and we would talk about baseball. And I would talk about Ken Griffey Jr. and he would talk about Babe Ruth and Hank Aaron. And we would talk about how baseball has changed, how it hasn't, the things that were true about baseball back in his day that are and aren't true about baseball in my day. I will tell you a couple of quick stories about it. The first was about some of my grandpa's friends, right? This story is a bit of a left-hand turn, but I think it's an important one and is part of the core memory. We talked about this conversation not too long ago when MLB added the Negro League records into their official record book. I remember being 7, 8 years old playing ball. I showed up to the grandma and the grandma's house one day, the grandma and the grandpa's house one day. And grandpa was out in the garage with 3 or 4 of his old buddies. And I as I walked in, I had my baseball jersey on. I think I had a practice or something that day. I had my baseball jersey on, and I walked into the garage, and a couple of them started talking to me about baseball. You're a baseball kid. What position do you play? I said, I play for, I think at the time as a little leaguer, I was a first baseman because I was tall. I'm a first baseman. That's great. Who's your favorite first baseman? And we got into that conversation, whatever. And then as a Braves fan, obviously at that point, I knew the story and the legacy of Henry Hank Aaron. And I don't know how it came up, but we got into the conversation of Hank Aaron versus Babe Ruth. And I said, I'd take one Hank Aaron over 5 Babe Ruths. He was a better player, right? Babe Ruth was a fine player, but Hank Aaron was better. And it went down this long rabbit hole where there were 2 things. I realized that at least one in the group was making the argument Babe Ruth was better, not because he believed he was better, but because he was white. And then there were other guys in the group who were making the argument Babe Ruth was better because he was a more utilitarian player. He could pitch, he could play in the outfield, he could hit, whatever. And it was a conversation that both opened my eyes to the reality of a very dark and shameful period in baseball's great history. That is the age of the Negro League, where some of the, if not the best players on planet Earth, were not allowed to play with white players. And the fact that there were still some people who were on board with that concept. But it led me to the discovery of Willie Mays. It led me to the discovery of Willie Mays because I remembered that conversation, and my grandpa later on would tell me about the Negro Leagues. And my grandpa later on would tell me about some of the great players that came out of the Negro League. He would tell me about Jackie Robinson, and he told me about Willie Mays. My old man, Bob Brown Sr., said, I will tell you right now, no matter how much you watch baseball, you will never see a better center fielder than Willie Mays was. And I went and looked up Willie Mays. As a kid, I didn't know Willie Mays was black. I had no idea. Willie Mays was mentioned in the same breath with the Mickey Mantles, the Lou Gehrig's, et cetera, et cetera. I had no idea Willie Mays was black. And then at that age, I started doing the research into Willie Mays. And granted, and I know this is going to be weird for the youths out there, there was no YouTube back in my day. You wanted to look at Willie Mays footage, you had to go find somebody that had Willie Mays footage on a VHS tape. That's what you did. And I do not remember where it came from. But I ended up with a VHS tape that was like a pre-Ken Burns era documentary of baseball history. And on that tape, I wish I could remember for the life of me what it was called, because I'd see if somebody's put it on YouTube yet. But in that tape, there was about a 7-minute clip or a 7-minute segment about the Say Hey Kid, about Willie Mays. And I watched that. And at the time, like I said, I was a utilitarian baseball player. Little first base, little third base, little outfield, little pitcher, wherever I was needed to play. As I am in my career, jack of all trades, master of none, right? I'm not really good at anything, but I'm pretty good at everything. And that's all I was as a baseball player. So I played a little outfield, predominantly left field, but I played a little outfield. And I remember finding Willie Mays footage. Like I said, I had no idea he was a black player, and fell in love with watching Willie Mays. That World Series that he won is going to forever go down. The 54 World Series? The plays that he made in that 54 World Series, I watched in like 1993, 1994 as a young cat. And recognized then that I was watching something that was different than I had seen all the other players. I had seen Babe Ruth video. I had seen Hank Aaron video. I had seen Lou Gehrig video. I had seen Willie Mays video. I'd seen all these guys play. And I came to the realization, I don't think I'd ever seen Willie Mays play. And then I watched Willie Mays play. And Willie Mays was innovative. He was inventive. He was insanely athletic. Willie Mays was strong as a damn ox. The fact that Pete Rose, years after Willie Mays had stepped away from the game, Pete Rose was out there talking not just about how Willie Mays, he said, listen, I'm as big as Willie Mays, and I can put contact on the ball as well as Willie Mays. But Willie Mays had like 500 more home runs than Pete Rose did. He said that is how damn strong this guy was. And if you go back, and there's a bunch of it on YouTube, and I know that because I watched it last night. If you go back and watch Willie Mays footage, for you Utes that are out there and have not done so yet, go back and find you some Willie Mays footage. Go back and watch this guy play in his prime. It blew me away as a young baseball player. And obviously there are players from my generation that are venerated to my generation. Ken Griffey Jr., Chipper Jones. Those are the baseball players that are going to stick with me. But there's also a class of baseball players from back in the day. Baseball players that even as somebody who was not, I don't know, like my parents were barely alive when Willie Mays was getting to the end of his career. My parents were not alive when Willie Mays won the 54 World Series. Yet, Willie Mays was still a guy that I have watched a lot of clips, a lot of video, learned a lot from, and Willie Mays was one of those guys that was so talented that even at a point in history where black players were not only having to deal with the fact that they were being discriminated against by white players in Major League Baseball who did not want them there, But go listen to some of the stories about black players and some of the things that they had to listen to, they had to put up with, some of the discrimination and the hatred and the racism that they had to fight through to get to the stadium. Forget while they're playing it. And I think that a lot of us would have an increased respect for what these players went through. And not just what these players went through, but how some of these players, like Willie Mays, would not only go through it, but dominate it. And that is why I was so on board with MLB electing to include the Negro League record books into MLB's record books. Because those players did not elect to not be big leaguers. Those players were told, you are not allowed to be big leaguers. And then once Jackie Robinson broke the color barrier, which, by the way, he did by standing with so many other black players in the Negro Leagues, guys like Willie Mays showed up. They dominated the game, and they deserve the respect that guys like Willie Mays are getting today. I will tell you right now, I don't know what you got going. I don't know what you got planned for tomorrow night. Whatever it might be, my thing doesn't matter. I'm canceling it because I am going to be watching this game at Rickwood Field in Birmingham, Alabama, home of the Birmingham Black Barons, one of the most illustrious and historic Negro League teams. This game was already set to honor Willie Mays and the Negro League players, and now we have lost Willie Mays. It is going to be, I think, a wildly emotional night for baseball fans, and there is no chance that I'm not going to be there. I would advise anyone that has any romance in their heart for baseball to do the exact same thing. Willie Mays, one of the all-time greats and an absolute legend of the game. Here's another legend. It's Alonzo with the Sports Flash.
The Stanley Cup Finals are headed back to Edmonton for Game 6 after the Oilers knocked off the Panthers 5-3. Edmonton now trails 3-2 overall after winning 2 in a row. Connor Brown opened the scoring, followed up by a power play goal from Zach Hyman and a 5-on-5 by Connor McDavid. Game 6 is Friday night. Aaron Judge was removed from a game against the Baltimore Orioles yesterday after taking a 94-mile-an-hour fastball to the hand. It was the second pitch up and in from Orioles starter Albert Suarez. Judge said after the game that x-rays were negative and is expected to miss minimal time, if any. Tune in tomorrow afternoon from 3 to 7 p.m. because they're off today. We're not. For our brand new local show, Wire to Wire, Cole Bryson and Diesel get you up to date on the latest local and national sports news, great guests, great debates, and a whole lot of fun tomorrow on Wire to Wire.
Oh.
So it says it needs access, and then it takes me to my settings page, and it doesn't say what the. No.
I need to look up that particular app.
I did.
Oh.
And it's saying to hit activate on the computer, and then a code will show up, but there's no place to hit activate. I think this is something that engineering has to do.
Okay. I just got tagged by an Instagram ad asking me to sign up for a medieval LARP battle in Greenville, South Carolina.
Dude.
And I'm not saying no.
Dude.
The algorithm works. Our numero dos of the Rob Brown radio program starts right now. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is the Fan Upstate. I am Rob Brown, the great one, Lonzo on the ones and twos. This lovely Upstate Wednesday AM. We are very glad to have you today. You want to be a part of the show? You can. Not only can you, you should. Not only should you, we almost demand it. The renewal by Anderson of the Carolinas fan phone is open right now at 844-FANFONE. That is 844-326-3663. You may text us at 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N, FAN, F-A-N, and jump on the air. We'll read those texts for you. FAN starts your message to 71307 if you want to come at us in that direction. If you're wondering what kind of day we're having on the show today, we just got a text that said, Rob, and whenever I show my in public, I'm a criminal. What the hell?
Exactly.
Oh, man. Texter said that
sir, could you please put your shirt back on?
That Oilers gal jumped on the podcast Spittin' Chicklets, which, yeah, if you're a hockey guy, Oilers girl. Texter said, someone get this girl in OnlyFans, and I'm in. Kate could make $1 million on OnlyFans if she wanted to, for sure.
According to the internet, right after it happened, she was offered one of those.
I have no doubt she was offered a number of contracts of different varieties within the few minutes after that video went viral. Ain't no doubt that happened.
Should have been offered a citation.
Victimless crime, baby. Victimless crime. All right. It is 7:02 in the morning. I was going to say you're on your way to work. Some of you are on your way to work. The rest of you have woken up and you're going, what a lovely day. What a lovely day to not work today. But you're up. You got your coffee, or if you're not working today, perhaps your mimosa poured. You're sitting out on the back porch. You're listening to the Rob Brown Show, either on the radio or on your phone at thefanupstate.com, or your laptop or your tablet or whatever. Maybe you've got the Odyssey app and you're listening to us on the Odyssey app, which, by the way, if you don't have the Odyssey app, you should get it, because not only can you heart the Fan Upstate and listen to the show and the station live anytime you want to, but you can also use the Odyssey Rewind feature to go back and listen to parts of hours that you've missed. You can also utilize it to bring home the podcast of any electrifying show we have here on the lineup that you'd like to go back and listen to. So if you miss, let's say maybe you don't have to get up at 6 a.m. for work. Maybe you get up at 7. Maybe you get up at 8 and you're lazy. You can go back and listen to the podcast on the Odyssey app, or go find and subscribe to the Rob Brown Show wherever you get your podcasts, on Spotify, on iTunes, on Google Play, whatever it might be. We've got the podcast up for you. Hours go up within minutes of the conclusion of the radio program, because that's how rules work. So you can listen to the show on demand almost right after it's over. Go to thefanupstate.com and grab the podcast, or check us out on the Odyssey app. Either way, whether you're going to work or you're not, you're going to talk sports today. We know that. Yeah, sports has no days off. No off season, y'all. That's the tagline of this show. No days off, y'all, is the tagline of every day, which means you're going to talk sports. And if you're going to talk sports, you're going to need this.
Are you ready for the playbook of the peculiar, the almanac of the absurd, and the encyclopedia of the extraordinary? Well, you better be, because we're diving headfirst into the 3 top stories that will have your coworker saying,
I'm not coming back, because the coworkers aren't saying anything. You know why? Because they had a day off like we could have.
Creed is all I'm going to say.
Be hearing that, doesn't that make you sleepy?
We have to
sleep right now.
Lonzo, the people demand their sports. We shall give it to them with the water cooler cheat sheet, the top 3 sports stories that you need to know for today, Juneteenth of 2024. Let us begin with item number 1. As we mentioned to end the last hour of the show, MLB legend, the Say Hey Kid, Willie Mays, has passed away at 93 years of age. His son, Michael Mays, put out a statement last night that said, quote, "My father has passed away peacefully and amongst loved ones. I want to thank you all from the bottom of my broken heart for the unwavering love you have shown him over the years. You have been his life's blood." The Say Hey Kid was, of course, one of the most all-around complete baseball players of all time. He was a wizard in the outfield, bringing home a dozen Gold Gloves. Between the Negro League and his Major League Baseball career, he was a 24-time All-Star. He was a 2-time league MVP, a 2-time All-Star Game MVP, a 1-time Major League Player of the Year. He was a 54 World Series champion, the 1951 Rookie of the Year, and was elected to the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame in 1979. Mays was the 10th black player in Major League Baseball history, went hitless in his first 3 games. His first career hit with the Giants was a home run off of soon-to-be Hall of Famer Warren Spahn in the first inning of a Giants 4-1 loss to the Braves on May 28, 1951. Mays was also on deck when the Giants' Bobby Thompson hit his NL pennant-winning home run against the Dodgers on October 3rd, 1951. Of course, famously known as the shot heard round the world. The Giants win the pennant. The Giants win the pennant. The Giants win the pennant. Willie Mays, an absolute icon of the game. Willie Mays was my introduction to my education of Negro League baseball. I did not know Willie Mays was a black player when I was growing up. My grandpa, who was a big baseball romanticist, one day introduced me to that fact, introduced me to the Say Hey Kid, introduced me to my knowledge of not just Willie Mays, but the incredible Negro League players from those days. And Willie Mays was the trigger for me learning all of that incredible baseball knowledge, a baseball history that was unfortunately necessary because of intolerance and bigotry in those days within the game, a part of the dark period of baseball history. Willie Mays, one of the reasons that we have moved on from and celebrate that, a legend and icon of the game, passing at 93 years of age. He, of course, was the Say Hey Kid, Willie Mays. Let's get to item number 2. The Stanley Cup playoffs roll on. They roll on because the Florida Panthers, who held a 3-0 lead over the Edmonton Oilers, now hold a 3-2 lead over that team. Back-to-back consecutive wins for the team from Canada. And just like that, now it feels, despite the fact that they are still down a game, like Edmonton was in the driver's seat. Clearly the better hockey team yesterday evening down in Sunrise, Florida. Why? Because the special teams of Edmonton has not just come alive, but they are now dominating. The first 2 goals for the Oilers, and 3 out of the 5 came on special teams play for Edmonton last night. Connor Brown opened the scoring 5.5 minutes into the first period, scoring a shorty, Lonzo, scoring a shorty. a shorthanded goal on the 5-4 disadvantage from Connor Brown. It was unassisted, took it himself the length of the ice, and buried it past Sergei Bobrovsky, who has struggled a little bit the last couple of games.
Shorty means something totally different in the Urban Dictionary.
Well, it's a good thing we're talking hockey and not whatever you young people are talking about nowadays. Connor Brown gets the shorthanded goal, which meant that in the last two games, Edmonton has scored more shorthanded goals than Florida has scored power play goals at this point. Zach Hyman would score just 2 minutes into the second period. That one was on the power play. Back-to-back special teams goals for Brown and Hyman. Connor McDavid would get yet another point in, I believe, his 41st at the time. He would get 42 later in the game. McDavid would get an even strength goal 5 minutes into the second period. That made it 3-0 in favor of the Oilers. Matthew Tkachuk would get one back for Florida less than 2 minutes later off the Rodriguez helper. That made it 3-1, and it felt like the Cats were going to come alive. But Corey Perry got another special teams goal, a power play goal for Edmonton just under 12 minutes into the second period. Got the assist from Connor McDavid. That was point number 42. That made it 4-1. Then there was a flurry of action from the Florida Panther offense. Evan Rodriguez would score 12:08 just seconds after the Perry goal. That would make it 4-2. Florida would go and dominate the last 5-6 minutes of the second period. In fact, they got 6 shots on goal in about a 40-second period. However, none of them could find the strings because Stuart Skinner was having a freaking night last night. We would end the second period at 4-2. Ekman Larson would get a goal for Florida, 4:04 into the third period, and the place came unglued. It felt like Florida was going to have a come-from-behind victory in this game. Alas, it was not to be, because while Florida controlled the action in the third period, they could not find a way to break the brick wall built up by Stu Skinner. 19:41 into the contest after about a minute and a half, and a stellar open net save from Matthew Tkachuk. They would get it back anyway. Just seconds later, Connor McDavid would find his second goal of the game against an empty net. That made it 5-3 in favor of the Oilers, and that would end up being your final. And so just like that, on a plane we hop, we fly back to Edmonton Game 6, set for a puck drop late Friday evening from up in Canada. No word yet on if Kate's going to be there or not to inspire the troops to rally the Oilers. Oilers girl.
Okay.
Kate, the Oilers girl.
Okay.
Somebody, I got $1 says somebody buys her a ticket. Anybody want to take me up on that? Yeah, I didn't think so. Hey, we should move on to item number 3 on the water cooler cheat sheet. One that I have specifically added for the great one, Lonzo. The PGA Tour has 8 signature events around the course of the annual calendar. Those 8 signature events all have a purse of $20 million or more. Those signature events all lead to points in the FedEx standings. They have increased prize money and increased FedEx points. However, to qualify for those events, there are minimum standards that you have to hit. You have to hit a certain number of tournaments played. You have to hit a certain number of placements within those tournaments. You have to hit a certain amount of prize money won. And it is tough to do if you are not playing full-time golf on the PGA Tour. Well, the PGA Tour said, we need Eldrick. A memo obtained by ESPN yesterday, the tour told its members that a, quote, sponsor exemption will be created to recognize Tiger Woods in his own category as a player who has reached an exceptional lifetime achievement threshold of 80-plus career wins, end quote. Tiger Woods has had the Tiger exemption created just for Tiger Woods. He is now eligible with an exemption to play in all 8 of the signature events, which include the Century, the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am, the Genesis Invitational, the Arnold Palmer Invitational, the RBC Heritage, the Wells Fargo Championship, the Memorial, and the Travelers Championship. Jay Monahan said the policy board was considering implementing a 36-hole cut in each of the signature events. Only the Genesis Invitational, the Arnold Palmer Invitational, and the Memorial currently do. The board did take no action and will continue discussing the possibility. But the 48-year-old Tiger Woods has competed in only 9 official PGA Tour events the past 3 seasons since returning to action at the 22 Masters. The only non-major event he has competed in is the Genesis, which of course he hosts, and it benefits his invitation. Woods withdrew from the second round of the Genesis back in February because of illness. He finished 60th in the Masters, missed the cut at the PGA Championship, and last week's U.S. Open. Woods did say he planned to compete in next month's Open Championship, which is scheduled at the Royal Troon Golf Course in Scotland. But Woods can now play in all of the signature events. He was asked at the U.S. Open at Pinehurst on Friday if playing in more events might help him perform better. He said he did not feel like he was ready to play in additional tournaments. In fact, he said, I've got only one more tournament this season. Even if I win the British Open, I don't think I'll be in the FedEx Cup playoffs. Just one more event, and then I'll come back whenever I come back. Now he is welcome to come back to the 8 signature events after the PGA created an exemption just for the 82-time PGA Tour winner. If you did not believe that there was a special level of importance placed on Eldrick Tiger Woods, the PGA Tour has just said, yes, indeed, there absolutely is. And it's a good decision. It's a good decision because even if you are not tuning in to watch Tiger, a lot of people are. A lot of people are. I watch golf just about every weekend that it's on television. And I will tell you that the few times that my lady friend has sat down on the couch next to me and been happy about golf being on has been just to see what Tiger's doing. Tiger keeps eyes on the game and will as long as he plays. It's a good decision from the PGA Tour. It doesn't hurt anybody. They'll expand the field by 1. He does not take a spot away from a younger competitive golfer. You just put him out there and let him go. And hey, if he pops up and he wins a tournament or 2, incredible. You ride that PR wave. And if he doesn't, whatever, he gets eyes on the product, which hopefully will turn into new fans. When we come back, a brand new sport has just been approved for folks to gamble on in New Jersey. And it is a sport that when I tell you about it, Lonzo's going to lose his mind over it. And I hope you will all come join us on the live stream to watch that happen because I guarantee it happens. Next on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
We live.
All right, guys, quick live read and we're coming right back. Do me a favor. Stay right there.
QC in the next break.
QC in the next break. Got it. You know, ordinarily the 7 o'clock hour, or as we call it, the money hour, is reserved for like serious sports talk, right? Or at least as serious as this show gets. But I'm not going to do that here because I found this earlier and I'm not going to lie. The great one immediately jumped into my brain. Why? Because the New Jersey Division of Gaming Enforcement, which is the entity under which if you are offering sports gambling, you must be approved in the state of New Jersey. New Jersey, of course, home of Atlantic City, one of the most popular gambling destinations in America, is looked to very frequently as more and more states begin to approve sports gambling's legality. They have just approved their newest sport, which sports books may offer gambling services for. That sport, Lonzo, I had never heard of before. But not only have I heard of it now, but I spent the last break watching it on YouTube and familiarizing myself because I think that my next goal is to become the voice of Card-Jitsu. Have you heard of Card-Jitsu?
No, but I think it's pretty self-explanatory.
It is. It is a Brazilian jiu-jitsu match which takes place in the front seat of a sedan. Two competitors.
That's not what I thought it was doing. I thought it was more about the, You
thought Demolition Derby?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Which is what I thought. No. It is Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Two competitors enter the front seat of a sedan. They, of course, because safety first in this contest, great one, must apply their seat belts when they enter the sedan.
Is the car moving?
No, it is not.
Okay, all right.
The referee says, let's get it on, which is what every combat sports referee says. They're all Mills Lane to me. The referee says, let's get it on.
He's dead, so we're probably good.
I don't think he ever TM'd that.
I don't know. Everyone does that these days.
I mean, I don't think you can TM, let's get it on.
We just got one about the Olympics, man. It's
yeah, but they're like those are actual trademarked like names and stuff. Like, I don't think you can trade. I don't know. I could be wrong. Either way, it doesn't matter because Mills Lane's dead. The point here is the ref says, let's get it on. And two competitors seat belted into the front seat of a sedan, then start a jiu-jitsu contest again in the front seat of a car. Now, Card-Jitsu is not the first obscure sport that the
I have more questions, dude.
We're not done.
Where's the referee?
Outside of the car.
Okay, all right.
They are outside of the car. They look in through the windshield and the windows to make sure that the jiu-jitsu is being practiced legally by the two competitors. There's obviously wholesale strategy involved here. Like, for instance, great one. Obviously, you can't get a jiu-jitsu hold or submission of any type applied while you are seatbelted in. But is the play to try to get the seatbelt off immediately? Do you try to get arm control of the near side arm of the competitor and then with your other hand unlock the seatbelt? Is there a strategy that differs when you are in the driver's seat and the seatbelt locks on your right versus in the passenger seat where it locks on your left?
See, that was my first thought. If you're left-handed, you want to be in the passenger seat. You do not want to be in the driver's seat. And if you got two righties, the guy in the driver's seat is at a major disadvantage because of the steering wheel.
That is true. That is true. I got to tell you, this is the first. There's a lot of obscure sports out there. Some that I have never wagered on because a lot of, obviously, There's very few states, including North Carolina, that have approved some of these obscure sports for gambling purposes. But if they ever do, I am all in. Car-jitsu is absolutely one. Car-jitsu ever gets approved in North Carolina for me to gamble on, I'm immediately going to Cherokee to put down just a day's worth of car-jitsu.
By the way, you shouldn't do this until like 10 a.m., but it is on YouTube.
I know.
I'm just saying.
I was not joking when I say to you that when we took the last break, after I did our live read, I made my way over to the Fortress of Nerditude. I did not need to leave the studio. I did not need to take a break to exit the studio, but I decided to. Why? Because I learned about the sport of car-jitsu. Bro, these boys go hard, dude.
Yeah, but it's not just the front seat. It looks like the back seat is
the whole car is accessible.
Yeah, so okay.
Once the seatbelts are, you start in the front seat, but once the seatbelts are off, it is a jiu-jitsu match in which the entire car becomes a portion of the arena. Here's a strategy, Zoe. Do you take advantage of this one? If you can maintain front control, do you take the risk to reach across, hit the old seat recline lever, and drop their seat back so that it becomes a flat mat?
All right.
Do you try to maneuver them between the passenger and the driver's seat to get them into the back seat to open up some room?
So anyway, I'm watching the beginning of the championship match, and the first thing they both tried to do was to stop the other person from unbuckling their belt.
I have seen the strategy of get the seatbelt, like wrist control the seatbelt of the other guy. I have seen one guy so far who takes the seatbelt, and this one, I don't know if this is legal or not. Again, I cannot tell you the exorbitant amount of time I am going to spend today reading the rules and bylaws of car-jitsu. All right. But I have seen one competitor who grabbed the seatbelt from the far side of the opponent, Zoe, brought it over and pinned it across the neck of the opponent, utilizing it as a restraint. The person that couldn't get by, the seatbelt was holding them back by the neck. Apparently, one can win car-jitsu by either submitting the opponent, great one, or by escaping through the window of the car. It's like a Hell in a Cell match. You get through the door and you win.
Well, a cage match.
I guess not Hell in a Cell. Hell in a Cell, you got to go up over the top.
No, Hell in a Cell.
Which one goes?
There's no escape in Hell in a Cell.
That's right. That's right. So just a regular
cage match. Yes.
But apparently you can win by submitting your opponent, or you can win by escaping through the window. I'm watching one right now, a car jiu-jitsu championship, where a dude is straight up choking out the other dude with a seatbelt.
Davidson versus Felton?
I don't know, because I'm watching it on YouTube Shorts right now. Yeah. So it's just kind of clipped in. But the guy had the seatbelt all the way around the neck, and the other guy tapped out.
All right, you get match points. So this isn't just one
This is a league, dude.
No, what I'm saying is it's not one submission. You keep going.
Yeah,
there are rounds.
My understanding is that's what jiu-jitsu is, right? It's like a multi-round fight.
Yeah, you're right.
Let's see. I just found a match between Leroy Davis and Ken Moore that is 1 hour and 5 minutes long.
Yeah, the one I'm looking at is 45 minutes, Davidson versus Felton. So, yeah, and this was in 2022. So how far has the sport advanced at this point? After a couple years? I
don't know, dude. All I can tell you is I had a conversation with Joe B. over the weekend where I said, I'm at this interesting point. I've made it no secret to anyone, including the people I work for, that the dream job of Rob Brown is to be a play-by-play guy, right? I would like to be like Fowler is. I'd like to be doing tennis one weekend and Olympic sports one weekend, and then NFL one with college on Saturday. NFL. I'd like to be doing it the way that Gene Deckerhoff does it. He does Tampa Bay on Sundays, FSU on Saturdays. Like, I'd like to get into that realm. And I asked Joe, do you think the play is for me, Rob Brown, to dial in and become an expert at one sport, or just to be really good across all sports? And I think the question just got answered with car-jitsu. I think I'm just going to dive in to be the world's foremost Car-Jitsu play-by-play guy. I think my career has just taken a left-hand turn into being the preeminent voice, the face and vocal cords of Car-Jitsu. Zoe, I think you and I would make a pretty formidable Car-Jitsu play-by-play color guy voice.
Yeah, I'm down for it. If I don't die right now.
Yeah, are you okay, bud? Lonzo's over here hacking up internal organs and, like, at this point, crying because of it. Not crying. I think his body's just rejecting everything that's inside of it, including his eyeballs at this point. This one looks right. Lonzo's had some bad ones. This one looks rough. Texter says, can we acknowledge where everybody's brain is going as Rob describes Car-Jitsu? I feel bad for whatever young lady you took to prom, Texter. It should not look like that, bud.
Well, I'm right now watching Car-Jitsu Championship 6 Ladies Night. I mean, it might be a coincidence.
I'm not saying there's no ladies who would be into the back of that, into that. I'm just saying if I described Car-Jitsu and your brain immediately went that direction, I do feel bad for the young lady you took to prom.
Well, I am curious if there are weight classes, because I mean,
gotta be, right?
I don't know. I haven't seen any heavyweights yet.
I'll tell you right now. One of the nightmares.
The heavyweights is just be a lot of this.
One of the nightmares for Rob Brown is when anybody goes, yo, I'll pick you up for this thing, concert, golf round, whatever we're doing. I'll pick you up, and they show up in a sedan. I'm like, oh, God, here we go. Here we go.
Hey, check out my new smart car.
I feel like
get on in.
Heavyweight class that's got to take in the front seat of like a Yukon, right? It's got to take place in the front seat of like a Escalade. You can't put the big fellas in a sedan. And
you can't use a limo because that's kind of cheating.
Yeah, so. That's no good. Texter says, God bless, please come back, football. Hey, you've heard me say the words, peak off season, baby. Peak off season, and I am sorry. You're ready for the thing that is going to lose me more listeners than anything else. This will lose me more listeners than saying dome every NFL stadium. I'm not getting into class of 2026 recruiting, okay? I can't do it. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to get into recruiting guys who are juniors and sophomores in high school, my man. Car-Jitsu is far more entertaining than that.
Oh my gosh, she is using the belt as a weapon.
I'm telling you, dude, it's brutal.
It is.
It's brutal. If you are curious, while you are in Atlantic City, New Jersey, gambling on Car-Jitsu, you may also gamble, Lonzo, on the World Putting League, which is high-level competitive mini golf. And if you haven't looked up that, I suggest you check that out. Those boys don't play either.
Yeah, I've seen that before on the Ocho.
They're good, dude. Like unbelievably good. Hey, remember earlier when I said Lonzo's eyes were going to open up huge because of this sport? It literally just happened as he watches Car-Jitsu. They get after it, dude. They get after it. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show with actual sports. It's the Fan Upstate.
QC.
All right, guys, one more live, and we're coming back. Stay right there for me. Thank you.
I just didn't know if the one over here is any good.
I would just like to say that sausage gravy is an elite part of any breakfast.
For sure, if it's done right. I mean, there's some greasy gravy.
For sure.
It's not
bad
good.
Sausage gravy can ruin it. Not because it's even bad, but just because of the disappointment, like a thin gravy. But a good, thick, white sausage gravy, untouchable.
Well, my favorite sausage gravy is from Bob Evans, but, you know, I don't have any around here. They had one for a while across the street, and then it didn't do well in this area for some reason. I think sometimes a franchise that's really good does bad in an area because of the people who work there. It has nothing to do with the food, but
that's not unfair.
Yeah.
I've been to some places I won't go back because of the service. Well, if I go a place and the service is bad, I won't go back for like 6-7 months because I will just assume that at some point that person is going to be let go. If I go back and that person's still there and it's bad, then I'm out. I have wonderful, wonderful news for you all because I know that you're all on board for this. And I am glad to know that is the case. Major League Baseball has decided at the AAA level that the automated ABS, the automatic ball strike system, will be utilized full-time starting in the end of this month through the rest of the MILB season. This is at the AAA level. The league sent a memo to minor league club directors yesterday announcing that on June 25th, all AAA games will use the ABS challenge system full-time. Up until the 25th, the system has been used for half of the week. Now the full ABS will be used for the remainder of the games. Is this a step towards the ABS making its way to the MLB system? Fingers crossed, I hope so. And I hope so because of the fact that there is now a number of, and I follow a few of them on Twitter or X, whatever you prefer. There are folks who are now grading out umpires, and the numbers are like real bad. Let me give you an example. One of the accounts that I follow on X is an account that is called Umpire Auditor. You can follow this account on X at Umpire Auditor. It basically takes a look at the balls and strikes called by umpires, and it calls them. It also looks at other plays that have happened. Now, I'm not going to play the audio from it because I haven't had the time to check it and audit it yet and edit it as necessary. So I don't know if maybe we picked up a hot mic coach because the coach was very heated. But in a game between the Dodgers and the Rockies, not terribly long ago, like yesterday, we are in the ninth inning. And in the ninth inning, the LA Dodgers are at the dish. The Colorado Rockies are up by a run. There are 2 outs at this point in the game. 1 more out and the ball game is over. Teoscar Hernandez is at the dish for the Dodgers. A pitch is thrown. That pitch is check swung on by Teoscar Hernandez. If you'd like to know approximately how this played out, I just posted 2 screenshots of it on our Twitter account. Teoscar Hernandez swings so far around on a 100-mile-an-hour heater that was about, 9 inches above the zone, that Hernandez's shoulders are squared to third base. Squared to third base. Squared to third base. The catcher points over at the first base umpire. The first base umpire says, no swing. That check swing would have ended the game. Should have ended the game, as it was indeed a strike. The umpire does not call it a strike. He rules it a safe checked swing. And Teoscar Hernandez, with 2 runners on, would then drive a home run out to right field on the very next pitch, and the Dodgers would take a 2-run lead over the Colorado Rockies and then go on to win the game 11-9. He's not the only one. In a game between the Giants and the Cubs, Manny Gonzalez was behind the plate and missed, according to Umpire Auditor, not 5 calls, not 10 calls, not 20 calls, 27 calls were missed by that umpire. Umpire Auditor had him at 27. Umpire Scorecard had him at 26 and a plus 1.19 run expectancy created by the umpire.
How many did he get right?
It doesn't matter.
I want both sides of the story.
According to umpire scorecards, he had an overall accuracy of 87%, a relative accuracy of 5% below expected, an overall favor of plus 1.19 runs for the Chicago Cubs.
What's the average amount of calls that are right per referee umpire per game.
Per umpire, the expected accuracy is around 93%, 94%. His was at 87%.
So if that's the average, so generally they do pretty well, sounds like. But you want them to be 100%.
As close to it as I can get.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
Because I believe that the outcome, I always say the outcome of the game, realistically what I should say, and what I will say from this point forward, is that the outcome of every individual play, whether it's a pitch or a snap or a tip or a shot or a drive or whatever, the outcome of every individual play should be determined by the players and by no one else. The outcome of any athletic play should be determined by the athlete, not an umpire, not a referee, not a coach, not a fan, no one else. And I am under no disillusion.
So there should be no penalties, no nothing.
No regulation, no. If a pitch is a ball, it should be a ball. If a pitch is a strike, it should be a strike. Those aren't subjective things. We have a strike zone. We know what the strike zone is.
Will these robo umps be able to tell if someone really got tagged or not?
That's what instant replay is for.
Oh, well, okay. So a human has to do that, though.
Sit in front of it. There is no debate.
All right.
You put a
guy. How accurate that is.
You put a guy in front of a 72-inch big screen HD TV with a super slow-mo camera, and you will get that right 99.99999% of the time, which is, and this is true, higher than 93% of the time. When a basketball player drives into the lane, and I have said many times, the hardest game to robo-ump will be basketball, okay? It just will be. That's going to be the hardest one to do. Is it impossible? I doubt it. I think there's some super smart boys out there that can figure it out. I'm not one of them. But I'm talking about baseball for right now. In baseball, a ball is a ball and a strike is a strike, and never the twain shall meet. It's either a ball or it's a strike. And we have the opportunity because, again, we know that they have it in AAA ball. They would not do this if not every stadium was equipped with equipment that is proved to work and work well with a remarkably high accuracy rate. I'm not asking you to take umpires off of the field. You can still have a guy out there behind the plate that can do their funky little strikeout dances whenever there's a K. What I'm saying is we have a way.
Looks more like you're doing the truffle shuffle. But
I mean, whatever. You ever seen Angel Hernandez? He just kind of raises his arm in the air and then does a strike. Just do the strikeout call.
He don't work there no more.
No, he don't. He don't go to this school no more. Thankfully, he gone. Major League Baseball is implementing the ABS challenge system at the AAA level for the remainder of the year. Now, Rob Manfred has already said it is going to be at least another season before the league makes that change. And my question is, and this is as eloquently as I can phrase it, Rob, from one Rob to another. Why? Why? I'm not even asking you to implement it this year. I'm saying put it in play next year because this is now the 1 billionth game this season that we have seen. By the way, I just gave you 2 from last night. There were like 8 games yesterday.
Do the players want this?
As far as I know, it's a pretty healthy split towards players that do and players that don't.
Shouldn't that matter?
No.
Why shouldn't that matter?
It should not. I'll tell you why. Because everybody who's a pitcher or bad hitter doesn't want it, and everybody who's a good batter does. So you are, by having it or not having it, it has advantages based on who's pitching and who is umpiring. There's, by the way, that was the check swing that wasn't a swing, even though it absolutely and totally was. There's the next pitch that Teoscar Hernandez took it out to right center, and the Dodgers took the lead for no good reason.
I don't know. His hands were out in front more to make it more of a check swing than if the bat was out more.
The hands crossed the hip. The shoulders were squared to third. That's a check swing.
I wasn't looking at his hips, so I'll just have to take your word for it.
Trust me on this. That's a swing. Trust me on this.
Yeah, it wasn't called one. So
if we have the tech to make that stop happening, if we have the tech to make balls and strikes and get them accurate to even 2% higher than the umpires,
I just don't understand.
7, we should do it.
I don't understand how it would regulate a check swing. I don't get that
because
part.
You can put it.
I can get the strikes and balls, and I mean that's easy to do. But
here's why: it's very simple. Because the umpire's watching in real time and make a subjective decision, and subjective decisions are not only up to obviously your eyeballs, which we know for a fact fool you a lot of the time, trick you a lot of the time, but on top of that, they are subjective to and variables include emotional responses to what's happening in the game. How many referees in the NBA do you think have called or not called fouls, not because they had an intent to change the game, but because the crowd's really hype and everybody's into it and it's a big emotional moment and they go, that's an offensive foul because the hype is there, or vice versa?
I'm going to make a prediction that when the robo-umps are installed, that you will say the robo-ump was wrong at least 30, 40 times a year.
Here's what I will say.
The calibration was incorrect, and because of that, the robo-ump is not wrong. It's just the human being that programmed it was human.
And yet, even if that was true, the robo-umps will still have a bona fide, measurable, empirically provable, heightened rate of performance over human umpires. That's just a fact of life.
By what percentage? I don't know. That's a fact. It hasn't been completely
If it was by 1%, it's an upgrade.
Okay.
If it's by 1%, it is an improvement by definition. But I would say by 7%, 8%, every play on a diamond, on a court, on a field, on a pitch, on whatever surface we play whatever game on, every single play that happens should have its outcome determined solely by, only by the athletes, not the umpires, not the referees. That's just how it should be.
And you said half the athletes don't want this.
I don't care.
So, but you just, okay. All right.
I don't care.
I'm confused.
Half the athletes don't want it because it benefits them.
That's your opinion.
It should not. It is not my opinion that an umpire having too wide of a strike zone benefits pitchers and too narrow of a strike zone benefits hitters. That's not an opinion. That's a fact.
He did say that, Shane, by the way.
Yes, I did say balls on the radio. I don't know what the segue is from that. Here's Lonzo with a sports flash. How professional.
Those things fire on their own. They absolutely do. The Stanley Cup Finals are headed back to Edmonton for Game 6 after the Oilers knocked off the Panthers 5-3. Edmonton now trails 3-2 overall after winning 2 in a row. Connor Brown opened up the scoring, followed by a power play goal from Zach Hyman, and 5-on-5 by Connor McDavid. Game 6 is Friday night. Baseball legend Willie Mays passed away yesterday at 93 years of age. Mays, known as the Say Hey Kid, played a career that included 24 All-Star games, 2 National League MVPs, and a dozen Gold Gloves. Mays ranked 6th in all-time home runs, 7th in runs scored, 12th in RBIs, and 13th in hits. Tune in tomorrow afternoon from 3 to 7 p.m. for our brand new local show, Wire to Wire. Cole Bryson and Diesel get you up to date on the latest local and national sports news. Great guests, great debate, and a whole lot of fun. They're not on today because it's a holiday, but Rob decided to work. That's why we're here. Wire to Wire. Wow. Best ever, Bill Brooks. That was amazing. Yeah, those are two different people, Steven. Did it really autocorrect, Mile, or you just pushed the wrong thing? Really? So okay, that's weird. So Miley is more of a thing than Mikey. Weird.
Way to go, Miley.
You missed the best Bill Brooks traffic report of all time.
No.
It was great.
What did he do indoor?
The word clear was used quite a few times. Then he got to Pelham Road. Pelham Road. Well, not clear. It was so good. It was so how that man worked in those hesitations in that short little time and made it work. Absolute pro. We've never seen Bill Brooks. He might be 19 years old and just have that voice.
No, in my head, he just is Sam Elliott.
Maybe it is Sam Elliott and Bill Brooks is just his radio name. No way. Okay. All right. I was going to say that can't be him. It looks like a captain on a ship.
Hour number 3 of the Rob Brown Show starts right now, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. It is the Fan Upstate. Texas said, so you don't think umpires have a right to make a living? Well, by God, that's un-American. A lot of ball fans go to the park just to see the umps. Uh-huh. That is literally some people's argument, which is infuriating to say the least. By the way, I looked up the number, Lonzo. 61% of players are surveyed in favor of a challenge system, not full ABS. 47% of fans favor a challenge system compared to 28% of team personnel. That is the overall MLB, including administration. 30% of fans prefer to stick with no tech. 11% of admin and 23% want full ABS. I am shocked by how low the number for full ABS is. I am unshocked by the fact that a majority of players want a challenge system, not full ABS, but a challenge system installed.
I mean, if they do it in a way like basketball does with challenging a foul, I mean,
that's what's getting put into AAA right now.
Yeah, that's
like a coach will have the ability, or a player. Actually, it's even more, because at the plate, a batter, catcher, or pitcher would have the ability to challenge an individual call, but you would only get so many of those challenges. And like in basketball, like in every sport, if you miss one, you lose one. Whereas if you get it right, you would hang on to it. That's the way the AAA ABS challenge system is going to work, and I'm excited to see where it goes. The AAA level is also testing a fully automated strike zone. I suspect that the numbers of approval, disapproval, desire versus do not want will dramatically change once we get the results. And I'm not saying for the better or for the worse, depending on what side of the argument you're on. I'm saying if ABS comes back, the results come back, and they're overwhelmingly positive, then I think that the numbers will go up. If it comes back and players are disappointed by the results, then those numbers will go down. But I do think, like with everything else, you test something before you implement it. I just think for me, there's been enough testing to prove that this thing works. Let it be.
Except around here, you just update. Well, we thought it would work.
I mean, that's testing. All right, let's get some stories in here. Here's one that's very interesting. Not because of the geographic location involved, because it will be the least impactful professional team move if it happens ever, but more about the long-term implications of it. The state of Kansas is not the home of the Kansas City Chiefs and Kansas City Royals. That would be the state of Missouri. Of course, Kansas City, Missouri, is split between the two states. The state border runs through the city. However, the state of Kansas is trying to get them to move just a couple of miles away and make the state of Kansas the home of the Chiefs and the Royals. Bipartisan legislative supermajorities, which are like regular majorities, but they wear a cape, okayed the measure to authorize state bonds to help finance new stadiums and practice facilities for both professional teams, which currently reside on the Kansas side of the 2.3 million metropolitan area, which of course is split by the border with Missouri. 3 Super Bowl victories in 5 years have made the Chiefs perhaps the most celebrated asset of Kansas City. And now the state of Kansas says, hey, why don't y'all move across town? Why don't y'all come right on over here? You can stay in the same city. You'll keep the same fan base. You don't even have to change your name. You will still be the Kansas City Chiefs and the Kansas City Royals, but you'll be on our side. The plan comes from a Republican-controlled legislator and goes next to Democratic Governor Laura Kelly. She stopped short of promising to sign the legislation, but did say in a statement that, quote, Kansas now has the opportunity to become a professional sports powerhouse. Of course, the Chiefs and the Royals said they look forward to considering the option put on the table by the state of Kansas. Yada, yada, yada. Why is this important?
I am predicting bipartisan support on this effort.
You already have it as a bipartisan supermajority. Is already in. I can't say super without saying it that way. Wrestling has either ruined
no, man. You're going back
better.
to the cereal thing. You're doing Cookie Crisp, but you're using the word super.
No, that's how what's his face used to introduce Edge, man. The rated R superstar.
Who, Finkel?
Yes, that's who it was. That's where that comes from. Anyway. A spokesperson for Missouri, Governor Mike Parson, did not respond to an email seeking comment from ESPN, but Kansas City, Missouri Mayor, I don't know why I do that either. Mayor Quentin Lucas promised to lay out a good offer to keep both teams in town. He said today was largely, in my opinion, about leverage, and the teams are in an exceptional leverage position. And quote, here's why this is interesting.
This is the only place this could happen.
It is. Not
with as far as pro teams are situated.
No, it could technically happen if the state of New York wanted to get the Jets and the Giants out of New Jersey, as they should be called the New Jersey Jets and the New Jersey Giants.
It's not the same thing.
I mean, it is. They could get them.
And they already have that name. I mean, well, I guess Kansas City is not. No, I get it. A border war could, ensue out of this.
I vote we settle this by combat. I vote we settle the Kansas City, Kansas side takes on the Kansas City, Missouri side in an all-out citywide. But you don't even have to change the venue. You just do it in the city, urban warfare style. Last man standing gets the teams. It's like a custody of Dominic match between the two sides of a city.
Okay, but do the Chiefs have to abstain from fighting because they're the prize?
Yeah, listen, wherever they go, they're getting a brand new stadium. That's what. Okay, all right. Jokes aside, fun.
If they go to Kansas City, Kansas, they'll get a new stadium. I don't know that they're going to get one in Missouri.
So this is why it is interesting, because especially with all that's going around David Tepper and the Carolina Panthers right now, which we're going to come to some audio from Cam Newton here in just mere moments. Don't worry, I triple checked it. We're going.
Yeah, I know. I was in there and I'm still uncomfortable. I heard you doing some of it.
I nailed it.
Okay.
I nailed it.
All right.
I got extreme confidence in
Hopefully
myself.
You didn't nail both of us.
I have Joe Hendry levels of confidence in myself right now.
All right. I believe in you.
I believe in Rob Brown today. Okay. So here's why this is interesting. Because right now, the belief is that the or else clause is beginning to gain some momentum in Dave Tepper's give me my free money or else thought process. Now, Tepp has not said that yet. They have kind of danced around with some very gentle phrases insinuating the fact that the Panthers could leave if Charlotte does not assist in the upgrade to the stadiums and the upgrade to the facilities in Charlotte, North Carolina. What you are seeing now is that despite the fact that there are some very large municipalities that are taking place around the country saying we are not giving billionaire owners free money with which to invest in their own team. If you have $1 billion coming off of $500 million should be on you, not us. Of course, shockingly, I know the owners don't see it that way. Billionaires don't become billionaires because of generosity. Of course, they become billionaires by squeezing as much money out of other places as they can for everything that they want to happen anyway. So, while this is happening, what it shows is that while there are municipalities around the country that are beginning to tell owners, no, you're not getting that free money, there are municipalities that still very much will hand over that money. And it is not a polarizing topic, or at least not a largely polarizing topic politically. It is not something like there are many topics in this country today that you can draw a line in the sand and say, if you feel this way about a topic, there's a very good chance you're a conservative. And if you feel this way about a topic, there's a very good chance that you are a liberal. It doesn't seem to be that way, or at least it's not that way right now in Kansas City, because this is a Kansas City legislative body that is primarily Republican, but is still supporting it with Democrats on board. And while she is, again, not guaranteed to sign the bill, a Democratic governor that is heavily insinuated that she would. She's saying this is an opportunity for Kansas City and the state of Kansas to begin to benefit by having not just one, but two professional sports teams in town. I got to tell you, ain't nobody waking up happier this morning than the owners of the Chiefs and the Royals, because they have now got two states battling over them. One state that's saying, yo, we will give you the stadium and the upgrades that you were looking for. And another state that is saying, yo, not yet, but like we're working on a plan. We're trying to come up with a plan. We're trying to get you a plan that will work. And no matter who wins that battle royale of a pair of states that both own half of the city, if the teams are required to move, the athletes that play for them will not have to find new apartments, right? You look at what's happening down in Arizona right now. The Coyotes are no mas. They are moving. They are headed to Utah, where they will play 1 year under the banner of the Utah Hockey Club. All the players found out right after the season was over that they got to find a new place to live. They got to move to Salt Lake City, Utah. The Coyotes are in trouble right now because they just laid off all their staff and offered them the severance of one paycheck. One paycheck. The owner just made north of $1 billion, and he is offering his staff one paycheck worth of severance after firing them unceremoniously. We'll talk about that later on in the show. But if you're the Kansas City Royals, if you're the Kansas City Chiefs, you're in good shape. You don't have to fire your staff. You don't have to move anybody. You don't have to ask the players to upend their lives to go to a new city. No. You just got to drive another 10 minutes across the state line to go work over there. If this happens, you're real happy if you're the owner of the Chiefs or if you are the owner of the Kansas City Royals. Why I find this interesting is because when a guy like Dave Tepper says, hey, Batista style, give me what I want. If cities and states begin to say no to the owners of these clubs, we now know for a fact that there are other cities and states that will say yes. There are other cities and states that will say, absolutely, come on down, and can get bipartisan support to do it. There was some thought, not by me, I've seen the argument by editorialists in the past, that one political party was less likely to say yes to handing out free money to billionaires to move their team or to buy their team a new stadium instead of having the owners do it, and another party that might be more likely to do so. But now it turns out that's not necessarily the case. Now it appears that these teams are very likely, or these states are very likely, at least some of them, to say, yeah, you know what? We feel like there's enough of an economic boon in having a team move to where we are to make this happen. So now all of a sudden, when we reported initially, or I guess analyzed initially, that the Chiefs and the Royals were in discussions with potentially moving their teams out of Kansas City because they weren't going to get the stadium upgrades that they wanted to. Now it turns out that they are now standing on the highest platform because they got a pair of states fighting over them at this point, Kansas and Missouri, and they don't have to go anywhere if it happens. I am intrigued because my thought used to be, yeah, Tep can threaten all he wants to move the Cats if he doesn't get his $600+ million to renovate the stadium for sure. Who is going to take them? Initially, I thought London. London would take them. London wants a team. The NFL wants a team in London. I had been thinking for a very long time it would be the Jaguars of Jacksonville. But Jacksonville and the state of Florida just gave the Jaguars everything Shad Khan wanted to upgrade the stadium to keep them. They're not going anywhere now. They're locked down. The ruse of playing extra games in London to threaten the city with leaving, it worked. They got what they wanted now. I don't know that London wouldn't be willing to. I don't know that another city wouldn't look at this, right? And again, to kind of put on display what I mean here, the Oakland Athletics are leaving Oakland. They are going to Vegas. That is locked in. But you will remember, it wasn't but a couple of weeks ago that the mayor of Las Vegas quietly told the A's, probably best if y'all stay where you are, right? Like coming up with the funding and coming up with the resources we need to build you a stadium, it's not going to be easy. And we don't know how you're going to play here. It might be better for y'all to just stay where you at. Now, they're not going to, because John Fisher is such a turd that he'll finance that thing himself because he knows he's going to make that back in buckets when he moves to Vegas and then immediately sells the baseball team to the highest bidder. But I think that even if Vegas says meh to a baseball team. I think they're saying it more about the franchise than they are about having sports there. That's why the Aces are there. That's why the Raiders are there. And hell, if the Oakland Raiders weren't safe in Southern Cal, why in the hell would you think the Carolina Panthers are? If the Kansas City Chiefs would they? Question mark. I don't know. Are they going to pretend to for the sake of getting what they want? Yes. If the Kansas City Chiefs are willing to leave one of, if not the NFL's most iconic home field advantage in Arrowhead Stadium, to move a few miles away to get what they want, do you think the Carolina Panthers are safe in Charlotte? No. No, they're not. This is a big-time story. I know it doesn't really feel that way. It kind of feels like a washover. Rob Brown, who the hell cares about whether the Chiefs move from one side of Kansas City, Kansas, to the other side of Kansas City, Missouri? Who cares? But the answer is, if you're a Panthers fan and you want this team to stay here, you should, because it proves that there is bipartisan support to give teams what they want financially in order to get the impact that they have by having people travel to come there. I think it matters. Shane says, let's go. I didn't know that. Hashtag Duval. Just so we're clear, that's not like an official report. That's my analysis of the situation. Shad Khan hasn't said, we're not looking at. He never said we are moving to London, but he never said we aren't. Just like he now hasn't said we aren't moving to London, just like he never said that we are. That's just my analysis. I don't think he's getting $500 million funds to upgrade his stadium to then turn around and take it to London. I think he got everything he wanted, and now he's happy to stay because he knows that he's got Jacksonville by the Duvals. And I think that's big to him. All right, let's take a break. When we come back here in a minute, speaking of Cam Newton had some things to say about Charlotte putting all that money into creating a brand new fan experience around the bank. We'll play that audio for you and get your reaction when we come back on the Rob Brown Show with the Fan Upstate.
New life.
All right, guys, one more read and then we're back. Stay right there for me. Thank you. All right, dudes and dudettes, we back. Another one.
The lights are on, but I believe it's deception. Well, no, they're about to. Oh, they did. So now the decision needs to be made at 10 a.m. Do I do my normal work or do I just go ahead and go home and double up tomorrow on Friday?
Valid question. Decisions.
It ain't like I can get an email about
Decision. My dumb head, you know what I just said in my head? You should just send an email, tell them the problem.
Listen on your phone. Download the Odyssey app.
I will text him after 10 and ask him if he has time or should I just wait till tomorrow? I'm sure he'll say just wait till tomorrow. In which case I will have contacted someone to help me and then I will have an alibi, I guess.
An alibi? So we have talked very briefly about David Tepper and the Carolina Panthers. David Tepper asking for north of $600 million for stadium renovations from the city of Charlotte. Said he's also willing to pitch in over $600 million of his own money in order to make these upgrades happen. The upgrades are extensive. We had a couple of weeks ago Will Pelagic, the voice of the Charlotte FC soccer club, up on the show to talk about it. He went in depth a little bit about this scenario. We have talked about it. Obviously, they include an outdoor pavilion with an outside jumbotron that would allow the Panthers and Charlotte FC to throw street parties, festivals outside during and not during games. It includes a lot of upgrades to fan accessible areas of the stadium. It also includes a number of upgrades to backstage portions of the stadium. One of the arguments that has been made in years gone by is that, and Adam Thielen said this publicly a couple of weeks ago, that Charlotte has some of the least impressive, least tantalizing of the amenities for NFL players. It said that the locker room is nowhere near state of the art. It is nowhere near the top of the list of stadiums, of places that NFL players would elect to be. Now, I think Adam Thielen is toting a company line for Dave Tepper there. But Cam Newton brought a fun new angle to the conversation. On his podcast, he was talking about the funding for the new stadium, or the renovated stadium, I should say. He was talking about the fan experience and how it would be impacted. But in this short little clip, Cam Newton talks about his numero uno concern: everything Carolina.
Ain't none of this gonna be worth a.
If what?
If you got the chairman, the president, or the CEO, or the person who's making the calls isn't at one with the city. I don't give a damn how much money you got.
Because they need the taxpayers' money.
I don't care how much money you got. I don't care how much money you're asking for. But if you're not at one, the number one in charge is not at one with the city, it's not gonna work. It's not. So take it for what it's worth. That looks phenomenal, you know. And obviously, Charlotte has been yearning a destination or to be the marquee destination for bigger events.
Mm-hmm,
I think every city wants or has admiration to have the Super Bowl potentially come there.
Yep.
Now, the truth of the matter is, what about the regular, situation? Now, that looks like an ultimate fan experience. Cool. All for it. But,
I believe in Rob Brown. Nailed it. Nothing slipping through the cracks against this guy.
Every city has the admiration for winning the Super Bowl.
First off, you know how you can tell Cam Newton is really exasperated with Dave Tepper? Because he ended it with, but, dude, which you don't drop but, dude, unless you are super frustrated with the situation, okay? Now, let's talk about what Cam Newton said.
I never took him as a dude guy, so I was a little surprised by that.
I think
I took him as an expletive guy. Not dude, not bro, but, something else.
I mean, he definitely is, but I also think, because so am I, all right? I'm a bad words guy. It is what it is. If words hurt you, I apologize. I will be respectful when I'm in your house, all right? When Lonzo and I are in the fortress of nerditude, I tone it down. I don't eliminate them, but I tone it down out of respect.
Which I appreciate.
When I am in somebody else's home, if they don't, then I don't, out of respect. Yeah, you catch me in a bar at 11:30 at night. No, I don't care. All right?
Yeah, I've seen your on-stage video.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Don't care.
They're explicit.
It's 10:30 at night. We're in a bar. All right? Big boys say big words.
You and Oilers girl.
Me and Kate, baby. Me and Kate. We ride or die. So, let's break down the meat and potatoes of what Cam Newton had to say here. The meat and taters of what Cam Newton said here is you can build a mecca to football. You can make the most fan-friendly fan experience in all sports out of all time. You can build a place that Roger Goodell would say the Super Bowl is going to Charlotte every year. But if Dave Tepper does not get in step with Charlotte, it will not matter. Because if the team stinks and if Dave Tepper is out there doing a thing, like throwing drinks at fans, even though that was in Jacksonville, not in Charlotte, if Dave Tepper is out there confronting bar owners over smart-castic signs, which again, I think Dave Tepper was just trying to make nice with the small folk. He just doesn't know how to, right? If Dave Tepper can't get to a point like, I don't know, Arthur Blank has done in Atlanta. Something came out yesterday. There was a graph. Somebody put out a graph of the price of beers in different NFL stadiums. There are some beers, some stadiums where a 16-ounce beer cost you north of $20. You know what it cost you in Atlanta? $6.25. That is like $1.25 more than I pay for a 12-ounce beer at certain bars in town, okay? And I'm happy to do so. Arthur Blank, let me tell you where Arthur Blank is. Arthur Blank is in such a good spot with Atlanta fans of both Atlanta Falcons and Atlanta United that Arthur Blank is putting himself into his own team's ring of honor this weekend, and nobody's making fun of him for it because everybody's like, yeah, sweet, dope, for sure. Get at it, son. Congrats on making a Hall of Fame that you're in charge of who gets into it, and you're putting yourself in. And I'm not even making jokes because people love the guy, and I don't get him. I don't blame him because not only has Arthur Blank done a wonderful job of making Falcons and Atlanta United games genuinely fan-friendly. I can go to a Falcons game. Now, granted, welcome to the show, noted Atlanta Falcons fan Brandon Smith. Falcons games are cheap because the team has been crap for so long then you can go pick up tickets on the ground outside of the Mercedes-Benz Dome. Atlanta United tickets are cheap again because, A, it's soccer. And while I love soccer, it is still a growing sport, not a grown sport. But also because now the team stinks again. They have been actively making decisions to make their team worse. We'll talk about that later on. But as Shane just said, Atlanta United games are electric. They are. That's why they have incredible numbers coming in, even when the team's not that good. Cam Newton says, unless Dave Tepper gets in lockstep with the city of Charlotte, it doesn't matter how great the fan experience is. Nobody's going to come. And he's right. He's right. Dave Tepper, to me, is having the best offseason that he has had as the owner of the Falcons so far. You know why?
Panthers.
What did I say? Falcons?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm locked in one spot. He is having the best offseason that he has had as the owner of the Carolina Panthers. Why? Because he's doing what the fans want, which is not going out there and being a rock star and partying it up and buying drinks for them or getting $600 million to build a big party pavilion outside. No. Dave Tepper is having the best offseason of his career as the owner of the Carolina Panthers so far because he has shut the hell up. You don't hear him. He had the run-in with the bar, and then that's it. He got some flack. I think what happened is he was trying to, just be a dude, right? Go in, have a little fun, make some small talk. It went bad, so his PR folks went, Dave, there's nothing you can do. Until the team is good, just get out of the way. And it seems like it's working. Now, if the Panthers show marked improvement this year, all of a sudden that party pavilion might have people on it. And I will tell you, you know what the difference is between Kansas City, that's got two states fighting over it, and Charlotte that doesn't? People want to go to Chiefs games because they're good. They want to go to Royals games because they're good. Dave, if you make the team good, if you let the team be good, people will want to come, and all of a sudden your $600 million is a lot easier to talk the city of Charlotte into giving you. Cam's right. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. As a Saints fan, James, that's too close to home, bud. I'm not healed yet. I've not recovered. Z. All my wrestling friends are just sending me Joe Hendry gifts today, and I'm here for it.
I was going to say, you're not complaining, are you?
No, not at all. By the way, was that shot when he turned around and smiled and then he was smiling over his own? Was that not like the coolest intro shot of a wrestler, like first intro shot of a wrestler ever?
I think he does that all the time. But
I did too, but they framed it so good.
They did. First picture taken on a new phone.
Oh, you have a new phone?
Rob.
Oh, that's why you're having the email problem.
Rob.
I forgot. So I had listen.
Come on,
I'm
dude.
supposed to be off today, and you wanted us to come to work, all right?
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
slow.
All right. I don't often rob you, but I mean, dude.
I forgot.
I didn't want a new phone, but new equipment always comes with headaches.
Also, I clap like this now.
So my daughter was up helping me transfer my phone last night because.
Did you stick with the same kind?
Yeah, I got a 15. She works there, so she knows how to do it. So she's doing that right when he comes out. I was like, yeah. She's turning around. She's like, who is this guy? I was like, this guy puts diss tracks out on all of his opponents. And they're cheesy pop, and it's amazing. Dijak tweeted something out about remembering when he was enticed by a cult. And then someone responded about maybe it was a bad idea to have beef with, why am I forgetting his name? Joe Gacy.
You mean a murder cult?
Yes. The fact that it's Wednesday and that thing is still trending.
Derek White playing the decider with one cracked tooth and another that looks set for a meeting with a pair of dental pliers. Had the trophy presentation's best line. I would lose all my teeth for a championship.
Yeah, remember what Vrabel said he'd lose for one.
That's right. For the record, I'd give up my teeth first.
Yeah.
I can get new teeth.
Yeah, I mean, you know.
I can buy new teeth.
Yeah, veneers don't look fake at all on any of the wrestlers that have them.
As we bask in the afterglow of a Boston Celtics championship, and by that I mean have to listen to some of the most obnoxious fans in America, Boston fans, love you, James, gloat about finally getting it done for the first time since 2008. I do have to say, I kind of really like this basketball team. The more I think about this team's run through the postseason, this team's run through the NBA Finals, the more that I really think about what this team did this year, the more I find myself kind of falling in love with the Boston Celtics. The more I kind of start to really like the attitude of this team because, I go back and I think about a lot of the teams that have won in years gone by. And I don't care if you go with LeBron and the C's or the Lakers, or if you go with Steph and Draymond and the Dubs. I don't care what team you go with. This team, a team that I do think has two bona fide superstars in Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. This team, I think, great one, is it the least ego-driven team that we have seen in years gone by? The only team that I would say is even in the mix was last year's Nuggets, right? And I think that says something. Because if I go back before that, the Golden State Warriors, whether you love them or whether you hate them, were an ego-driven team. Draymond Green being the primary one, Steph Curry to some degree in the same boat. I go back and I look at the Milwaukee Bucks, Giannis Antetokounmpo, who I love. I do. I'm a big fan. Gave me one of my favorite clips that we play.
What the hell you guys say it politely? I want to take a tinkle.
That was it. That was to some degree an ego-driven team. The Lakers, the Dubs after the what? The two-peat. They lost to Cleveland before that. They had one before that. I think you got to go back to a decade ago, the last title from the Spurs in 2014, to find the last time that I could genuinely look at a team and say that was not an ego-driven team. But I think the last 2 years, frankly, and maybe you could even argue 3 with the Dubs, there is, I think, a bit of an era change taking place right now around the NBA. And that era change is that you are starting to see, and I do think I think it's a good thing, though I do not know that it will translate to, say, television ratings. We have proven time and time again, and we're about to do it again, by the way, with golf. and I'll include that in this conversation here in just moments. We are seeing more and more frequently a reality that television ratings are driven by individual athletes, not great teams, right? Here's the golf one. The U.S. Open this weekend, Sunday was the most watched round of a U.S. Open since 2013. Why? Bryson DeChambeau and Rory McIlroy. A large number of people tuned in to see either Rory not choke or to see Rory choke. A good number of people checked in to either watch Bryson DeChambeau win and aggravate some people or lose and overjoy some people. That's why those numbers were big. It wasn't because Pinehurst #2 did anything special that other courses hadn't done. It's not because there were some different guys out there than what we're used to seeing. No. It was simply because we had two big personalities that were getting after it. Does it feel, even though Jason Tatum did look a little more lively than he had been in years not gone by, but did it feel great one, like when you were watching Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown and Kristaps Porzingis and Derek White during games? There was never a spot where it felt like the guys wearing green and white were bigger than what was happening in that moment. I didn't feel that way about Luka Doncic, for instance.
This is a hard one for me because in the NBA, I always follow a player. I never follow a team, and I don't think I'm going to change from that. And maybe that's Boston to me, and I know they just won the championship. We're like, I mean, good for them. I guess maybe if you grew up in the city, or maybe your dad was a Bird fan and he passed it on to you, and so that's your team, that type of thing. But in NBA, it's never been that for me. So to me, they're kind of boring. And I know they won, but they're still kind of boring. At least Denver has a star.
See, and I think that's kind of exactly what I'm saying here. I also have players that I follow. Drew Holiday is one of them. Part of the reason I was enjoying the run for the Celtics is because of how big Drew Holiday was. He's one of my favorite players. Clamps, baby. Give me a good, gritty defensive player. Obviously still follow LeBron James. Obviously still follow Steph Curry. Not only do I still follow players, but I will also acknowledge that more often than not, the players I follow are the superstars of the league. But Jason Tatum has not been a superstar of the league for a number of years. Very, very good player, no doubt. But I think he just kind of reached that level. Jaylen Brown. Here's two dudes in Brown and Tatum that C's fans have been saying for years, one of those guys has got to go. Neither one of them is going to be capable of winning with the other on the floor. But this team this year, like there was something complimentary about them. Even though they are of similar size, similar height, similar build, similar games, unlike Luka and Kyrie, who never figured out how to get on the same page, as Keegan pointed out yesterday. When Kyrie is at his most effective, it's because Luka's on the bench, and vice versa. Tatum and Brown figured out how to make their games work together, which says to me that they got dudes in the front office and they got coaches on the sideline who are giving them a if X then Y set of formulas to work their games in with each other. And then they built that connection with each other that a lot of teams don't seem to have. I think a lot of the NBA still very much leans on, we need that dude. This is the conversation around the Lakers right now. This is why, unless they bring in somebody that both LeBron and Anthony Davis respect enough to listen to, the Lakers are cooked. And the Lakers are cooked because those guys can't seem to figure out how to get on the same page. LeBron James is not 28 anymore. That man is 40 damn years old, right? And because of that, LeBron wants to transition to a guy who is more of a facilitator. I have already given you my theory. I think when AD got brought to LA, The plan was for LeBron to take off the crown and to hand it to Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis don't want it. He ain't got the Duvals to be that guy. And so LeBron James has still got to be the guy. Well, if you're asking LeBron to still be the guy, that game does not translate to what Anthony Davis provides to you as well as it would if AD was the guy and LeBron was the facilitator. Then I look to the Celtics. And this is a team that, we'll talk to Hayden As Mario in the next segment and see if he agrees with me on this. When I look at Boston and I look at the games where Jason Tatum isn't having his best game as a scorer, what happens? Jaylen Brown steps into that role. It allows Jason Tatum to step back, become the facilitator. Now he's still a threat with the basketball, even if he's not scoring, and vice versa. If Brown's shots aren't falling, Brown steps back, becomes the facilitator. Jason Tatum takes over. And if neither one of those guys are doing it, now they're running a two-guard offense, and they got Derek White and Porzingis and these other cats to make up those points because the assists come in droves for these teams. This Boston Celtics team, I said yesterday, I think there's a legacy to this team.
Let's hope not.
I think there's a legacy, and I think that legacy is going to continue next year. They are plus 280 to repeat. Plus 280. That means they are, against the entire NBA, less than 3-1 to win the title again. And I think the reason why is because they did something that so many other teams over the years have forgotten how to do. And that is how to take superstars, but make an offense that is not built around a guy, but built around the games of those guys. I'm going to tell you, I busted up Joe Mazzulla all year long. I was like, yo, this isn't Mazzulla doing anything special. This is just having a great group of players. But post this finals run, aside from the fact that we found out yesterday that Joe Mazzulla has apparently been coaching these entire playoffs with a torn meniscus in his knee.
So,
oh yeah, MBD, no big deal, boys.
It's
just out there on a busted wheel roaming the sideline.
Yeah, I mean, that's not as big of a deal as a player doing it. Listen, Boston, I mean, congrats to them, but the NBA does not want them to win again because they do not have a bona fide superstar. You talked about superstars, but they don't have that guy that stands out that causes people to watch.
First off,
and if people aren't going to watch, that hurts the TV. And if it hurts the TV, it hurts the product.
I would say two things. First off, I think they have two of them now.
I don't know.
I think with Tatum getting his ring and Jaylen Brown getting an MVP, I think both of those guys become more must-watch.
Do they?
But number two, here's the thing. While I do agree that the NBA pushes a superstar, they're going to push LeBron. They're going to push Steph Curry. They're going to push the superstars of the league. Anthony Edwards next year is going to get unprecedented levels of coverage. Nikola Jokic, the revenge tour of the Joker is going to be a theme next year. I agree with that entirely.
Edwards has been chosen. And here's the thing. Has anyone from the Celtics been chosen? No, because they're kind of boring, and that's not what the NBA wants.
Here's the thing. I think they are boring, except for now they're the reigning defending undisputed. Now everybody's got a target to take down Beantown, and I do think that makes their stars in their team more interesting. But here's the thought. I agree that the NBA pushes superstars, but at the end of the day, do I think the NBA fixes series in order to promote stars? No, I don't, because if they did, Nikola Jokic would have been sitting at home on the repeat tour.
I never said that. I said they do.
I didn't say you did.
Like it.
Hang on, because I'm not saying you said that. What I am saying is I think that I'm very animated about this because this is an important conversation to me and maybe me alone. We'll find out if Mario agrees. I do not think the NBA is going to the length of even tilting series to a superstar because, again, if they did, Anthony Edwards is in the finals, not Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving. If they did, I think Nikola Jokic is playing Anthony Edwards in the semis, not Luka Doncic in the Dallas Mavericks. So the league can push individual players all they want. But at the end of the day, the goal of the teams is to win titles. And I think between Denver last year and Boston this year, the theory now is you can have a superstar. You can have two superstars. But a great coach who builds an offense around that star, as happened with Brown and Tatum this year, as happened with Jokic and Murray last year when those two guys were playing so well off of each other and the offense played well around them playing off of each other, I think the secret is out now that basketball's not a 1v1v1v1v1 sport anymore. Basketball can be won and will be won by teams that are playing good team basketball. Ladies and gentlemen, coming up in the next segment, our own used to be our own hating-ass Mario joins us here on the show to break down the NBA Finals, maybe took a brief look as to what next season looks at. And he and Lonzo both make fun of me for having the third best hair on the radio in the next segment. Now the guy who, I don't know if he has 1A or 1B, maybe they fight over who has better hair, Lonzo with a sports flash.
All right, obviously we have the best hair in radio, but you're not number 3 in radio. Maybe on this show. The Stanley Cup Finals are headed back to Edmonton for Game 6. Go away. After the Oilers knock off the Panthers 5-3, Edmonton now trails 3-2 overall after winning 2 in a row. Connor Brown opened the scoring, followed by a power play goal from Zach Hyman and a 5-on-5 by Connor McDavid. Game 6 is Friday night. The Atlanta Braves rang up a second consecutive win over the Detroit Tigers. With a 2-1 victory yesterday, rookie Spencer Schellenbach had his best pro game so far, going 6 innings and surrendering only 3 hits and 1 earned run while striking out 7. Tune in tomorrow afternoon from 3 to 7 p.m. for our brand spanking new local show, Wire to Wire. Why tomorrow? Because Rob decided to work today, or we'd be off too. Cole Bryson and Diesel get you up to date on the latest local and national sports news. Great guests, great debate, a whole lot of fun tomorrow, Wire to Wire.
To tell you that if you owe money to the IRS about $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. We may be able to significantly reduce and even eliminate what you owe to the IRS. Taxpayers should know huge savings are now being made available through the Fresh Start program that can drastically reduce the amount you will owe if you qualify. Even if you haven't filed your taxes in years or are facing wage garnishment, liens, levies, or under audit, we can help. We've earned over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. Enter your tax nightmare today. To see what savings you may qualify for, visit us online at tra.com or call us at 800-511-0379. 800-511-0379. Again, that's 800-511-0379. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Are you not able to enjoy this summer as much as you want because of your joint pain? This is the best time for being outdoors, but not if your knees, shoulders, back, or hips are hurting. Hey, it's Charlie James. Don't suffer any longer. Non-surgical joint pain relief is here at QC Kinetics. Give them a call today. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in regenerative medicine. I'm talking lasting joint pain relief with no surgery, no drugs, and no downtime. QC Kinetics advanced treatments harness your own body's ability to restore and repair damaged joint tissue so you can walk and run and hike and play golf and move again pain-free. QC Kinetics is under the leadership of former orthopedic surgeon.
All right, let's get Mario up in her. Let's go with the old 3-shot and that hair. What up, Mario?
First time in the new apartment, gentlemen.
Oh. How's your shoebox?
First off, bigger than the Chicago one, so it's pretty nice.
Very nice. Where are you in DC or are you outside of DC?
No, I'm in Arlington, like right next to the Pentagon.
Very nice.
Right by the Pentagon, he said. Those walls are really empty. I mean, I don't know if you're a picture guy or not, but they're
its process is still coming on a lot of
that would be like the last thing you'd do probably.
Yeah. We got 3 posts. If you can guess the 3 posters, Lonzo, I'll give you a virtual high five.
Jordan's 1.
Yep.
Chargers is 1.
No.
Oh, okay.
2 Jordans, but there's someone else in the Jordan photo that makes it cool. Really cool.
Pippen or Jackson?
It's a not rival, but another top 10 great.
Stockton.
Nope.
Mailman.
Not top 10. No. Early in his career.
Early in Jordan's career?
Isaiah Thomas.
That he had to beat. Good guess, Isaiah Thomas.
Bill Laimbeer.
No, but this guy took out Bird.
Took out Bird. Magic?
Yep.
Here, boy.
And then Dicka is the last one.
Dicka.
Flipping off the camera.
As a Saints fan, I will forever have a grudge against Mike Dicka.
Understandable.
Nope.
What do you mean?
Nope.
What do you mean?
Nope.
Wait. What do you mean?
Nope.
No. What?
Nope.
What?
Nope.
Stop!
Nope.
This is, you know what 9 o'clock would have been today? I don't know if you knew this. 9 o'clock would have been the time that I would have got up if you hadn't decided to work.
Okay, that's not true. You'd had to get up at some point to pee.
Ooh.
Yeah, but you get up and pee throughout the night, but that doesn't mean you don't go back to bed. I am older. It might be multiple times.
We're just having a Friday on a Wednesday is what's happening.
No, we're not.
You are.
Friday should have been yesterday, and today should have been
right, which would have made tomorrow Monday again. But I saved us from that. Tomorrow's Thursday. Thursday's a great day with Rashad Beard of the Panther Nation podcast joining us at 8:40 and Fight Club at 9:20. So you're welcome. I actually made your week better by being
normally you could tune in to Wire 3 to 7 p.m. this afternoon, but they took the time off.
Yes, they are also not going to go rock to Creed next month and then be able to have the next morning off for purposes of recovery.
Your excuses.
Both of us recovering for very different reasons.
Yeah.
After the Creed concert.
You're right. I'm recovering because I'm old. You're going to be recovering because you'll be, I don't know.
Imbibing mildly.
I was going to say, what do the kids say these days? Is it trash? Is it wasted? Is it what is it? I don't know. Maybe Mario knows because he's younger.
He is a Ute for sure. Joining us now on our live stream at facebook.com/thefanupstate, twitter.com/thefanupstate, the Fan Upstate, or the Rob Brown Show on YouTube and the Rob Brown Show on Twitch. He is an NBA analyst for BetQL Network. He is also the don't give him more than he already has. Also the executive producer of BetMGM Tonight, which you can hear on these airwaves every single weeknight from 7 until 11 p.m. And the former executive producer of The Better Show. Thank you for the hype for Bet for the Cycle, which airs every Saturday from noon to 4 on the BetQL Network. He is Mario Heron, a.k.a. Hating Ass Mario. What's up, Mario?
What's up, guys? Pleasure to be with you today on a Wednesday morning. And I say Lonzo banged up. So that's I think that's a new hippity hop term for you. That could be a Midwest thing. Yeah,
I got you. That's a safer term too, because you could say that and people won't know that it's Okay, all right.
Yeah. There you go.
Getting banged up at the Scott Stapp show.
You actually could get banged up, literally. I
gotta tell you, dude, it's been a long time since Rob Brown's been in a mosh pit. I don't think I got it anymore.
I'm more thinking about rail sliding and things like that.
I have taken a dramatic turn for the worse as I've approached 40. This is correct. Hey, Mario, you heard all the discussions we had towards the end of the last segment. Before we get into any of them, my theory on the Boston Celtics in the direction of the NBA, which is the Celtics figured something out, which is do not focus on a superstar and have the team cater to them, but more importantly, build something around the superstar where a superstar can still be a superstar, but an entire offense works through them, to them, not just dedicated to let them do the thing, which is what I think Jason Kidd did with Luka Doncic in these NBA Finals. Joe Mazzulla, somebody that I beat a lot on this year, did the opposite for Tatum and Brown. It let both of them shine. What are your thoughts on my little theory I built there?
I think you're onto something, especially because a big emphasis that they have this offseason and that they've mentioned over and over again is that they need to re-sign Derek White to an extension, right? That's a guy that, he took the Denver Nuggets last year. They kind of let Bruce Brown walk. And that was really going to let Bruce Brown walk and he's going to replace him. And they saw that was kind of a weakness in the team this past year. Not saying that's the reason why they lost, just saying that's a key role guy that left the team. in every NBA Finals team, you see kind of like the key role guys dwindle out because some team will overpay for them, and then as that other team overpays for them, that team, the title team, kind of takes a hit from it. It shows that Brad Stevens was one of the smartest GMs in the NBA. He knows that he has to get Derek White on a contract extension. He still has 1 year left, so it's not like a need, but like it's kind of a need. You also still need to re-sign Tatum to a max contract that he deservedly gets. I think it's around $315 million that they're gonna get him for, like 5 years, which is just insane. It does, and I think this team also shows is that we're kind of going away, if you will, with the super teams. Like the super teams just don't work anymore, right? Like the 3 superstars, the 2 superstars that are top 5 players in the NBA doesn't win you a title anymore. That's just not going to do it, because when you do that, you spend all your money in that and nothing else. And the Celtics are an example of why you kind of got to divvy out the money everywhere. And, you could come back at me and say Brown and Tatum aren't superstars. Well, they're not top 5 players in the NBA. There's top 5 guys I would take over them in a second. Maybe even more, honestly. I could probably push to 7 or 8 if you really want to go there. They proved something, but that being said, you referenced this, Rob, and I disagree. I don't think they repeat at all. I don't think they make it out of the East next year. I really, really don't. I think they had a lot of luck go their way, and I think relying on KP to have another healthy full season is a lot to ask for.
Okay, so a couple of things. Number one, you are correct. KP had to go through a whole season. We know he's getting surgery. We know he had a rare leg injury. I still don't even know what it exactly was that happened that he's got to get sliced and diced for. And you're right, KP may never be the same guy, but if there is a dude from that starting 5 that I would replace, I'd rather it be Porzingis. Derek White slides so well into the third player role besides Brown and Tatum. Drew Holiday, I think the one guy that probably deserves more talk than anybody else in the NBA out of the role player community. But like, I agree. And we've talked about it. The narrative at length was no Jimmy buckets against Miami. The loss of Spida in round 2 against Cleveland, the loss of Halliburton in round 3 against the Sirs. I'm not over it. Like, all that's fine, but let's also not pretend, Mario, like all these players were out and Boston was going to 6 or 7 games. They kicked the asses of every team that they were expected to beat without their best player. Add Jimmy buckets to Miami. All right, maybe it goes 6, right? Add Spida, a healthy Spida. Maybe Cleveland gets it to 6. Maybe. Add Halliburton for the full series against Indiana. I'm going to be straight up. Boston was just a better team than Indiana. Maybe at length that goes to 6. I still think they win those series 4-2. So who in the East is going to make the jump up that is suddenly going to compete with a team that is not just as good as last year's team, assuming they bring Derek White back, but again, a lot of shooters available in the free agent market, I think. Even if they don't, who's going to be the team in the East that jumps up now that Boston not only is this good, but they've gotten over the narrative, and now they've got all that confidence and any mental block that having choked so many times might have had on them.
So first, I think it's remember too. Like, I think Al Horford retires at the end of this year, which is like pretty huge for Celtics. I think he retires on top. So right away, I go to Bucks. Like, but the Bucks get healthy, right? Like, they just Giannis Lillard never got to really play together in the playoffs. They come back another year stronger. They have a coach for the full time. Team's insanely old, but still just not someone you really want to face in the playoffs. Also, this relies on, where does Paul George go, right? He has a player option this year. There's rumors everywhere that he's going to go, right? If he goes to Philly, I think he gets into a Nick Nurse system, which I think he'd flourish in. That's another title contender. That's another team that could take him out. Obviously, I'm saying all this. They still have to re-sign Tyrese Maxey, which I bet they will, obviously. And then Embiid has to be healthy. But Nick Nurse versus Missoula, I still take Nick Nurse. So that's a team I'd watch out for, especially if you get Paul George. Ooh, that's really, really tough. Another team that could land Paul George. What if the Pacers get Paul George? They made this run with no second superstar, really. What if they get Paul George? That's a pretty stacked team that just had a playoff run of experience. That's not going to have the Atlanta Hawks experience of, oh, now we're just bored of the regular season because we made a deep run. No, they're going to come back pretty hungry. They're going to come back a better team. They come back with Paul George, who's hungry for a title, comes back home, if you will. That could be a serious team that could knock off the Celtics. The Knicks, I think, lose OG because I feel like OG wants a bigger contract. But let's say the Knicks get like a Jimmy Butler. Well, if Jimmy Butler goes, all right, I'm like done for the Heat. The Heat decided to trade him. They go to New York Knicks. He gets back together with Tibbs. That could be a pretty dangerous team. I just think this league is so talented. Well, if Magic take a step, they have a lot of young talent. They just had their first playoff experience. Well, if they take a step this next year, DeMar DeRozan is a free agent. Let's say a team picks up DeMar DeRozan. Let's say like, I don't think he's linked to it, but like, let's just say like the Cavs pick him up, right? And he has something to go along. He's a second unit scorer with them. That could be something that's pretty dangerous. Maybe the Knicks get him. Who knows? Sixers, again, also in that category. I just think there's this Eastern Conference is so talented, and I'm preparing for Boston to lose Horford. And I'm preparing for KP to not be even close to as healthy as he was this year. And this year, yeah, he was healthy, but he wasn't healthy throughout the year and was like half himself in the NBA Finals. Side story: why the hell is he playing 2 days ago? Like when he's on the floor, I'm like, dude, you're whooping their ass. Sit him down. He's getting in the ring no matter what. But it's the league's too talented, I think.
Let's talk about Dallas for the flip side. You brought up Paul George a minute ago. Is it just me, or is Paul George like the perfect piece to pair with Dallas right now? Because let's be real. They had a good run. The win over the Timberwolves was exceptional, though I have brought up the fact that I think the Timberwolves were designed to beat Denver. I think they knew what they needed to get by Denver, and I think they kind of got locked in on beating Denver to the point that they dialed in so much on having the right chemistry for Denver, they forgot that there's other teams in the playoffs, and it kind of came back to bite them a little bit. I absolutely subscribe to that narrative. So if I'm looking at Dallas, I'm thinking I need a perimeter player who's a shooter, but most importantly, can account for Luka's defense. Because let's be real, it got exposed as a liability in this NBA Finals. Paul George to Dallas, to me, makes a ton of sense. But I will say this. I know they plan on running it back primarily because they got a lot of these guys locked in. A lot of these guys aren't going anywhere for a while. If Dallas doesn't make a move, Mario, Dallas is not going to win a title with Luka Doncic, and that would be, to me, kind of a disappointment, to be honest.
I'll go one step further. They won't make it to the finals. Like that, similar to the East, like the West is a gauntlet, right? And I don't think the Timberwolves are desperate to make a move this offseason. I think they're one of those teams that I would make the argument that they'd be fine staying put. I think they had the pieces, just something just didn't bounce their way. That's fine. I think if you're the Mavericks, you go, all right, we clearly need a guy off the bench to lead our second unit in scoring. They clearly need that. I think that's their biggest need. Luka defense is pitiful. That's something you just have to live with. I think you shoot for the stars and go to Paul George, and then you land on the moon and you get Malik Monk. That's what I think they do. I think Monk would be perfect for that team. I think he'd be perfect for the second unit and having a good scoring option. 15.4 points this past year with the Kings. I think he would score even more than that in this Mavs offense. I think he'd be huge for him. I think that's the smartest move to go. And they got to make a move because I don't think the Thunder are just going to stand by. I think the Thunder are also going to be pretty aggressive. And let's say the Thunder land Paul George, right? They have a ton of cap space. Why not go there? That could be extremely dangerous for everyone else in the West. The Nuggets are only going to be more sharper. They're only going to be better. And I don't think that Mavericks, they beat the Timberwolves, but I don't think they would be able to beat the Nuggets in a series still. So they have to make a move. It's you can't stand put after this year. You got to get Luka more help, and you can't rely on him to play hero ball. And you got to have a little conversation with Kyrie because the performance by Kyrie also in the NBA Finals, Celtics or not, boy, was that pitiful.
Yeah, it was disappointing, I think, to say the least, from Kyrie Irving. I mean, you can't definitively prove that the Celtics fans got into his head and that it was too big of a moment for him, but I have a real time accepting that's exactly what happened. But again, to me, and I kind of put this into contrast to the Boston Celtics, Kyrie and Luka's games don't complement each other. And to me, Jason Kidd never figured out how to make the offense allow that to happen, which is wild because there's more difference between Luka and Kyrie as both players and their game than there is between Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, right? I mean, those two guys are, I'm not going to say identical players, but they play remarkably similar games of basketball. But Missoula, again, a guy that I beat the crap out of, and that completely owned me by winning an NBA Finals. Missoula looked at this offense and figured out a way to go, we're going to find out who the guy is that's got the hot hand. We're going to make sure that both of these guys understand, hey, if Tatum's hot, Brown, you're the facilitator. If Jalen's hot, Tatum, you're the facilitator. If you're both hot, we're going to make sure that you guys are getting the work. And if neither one of you is hot, we're going to make sure that we're playing a 2-guard front where you both become assist monsters. Whereas I look at Dallas, and I went, it didn't matter if Kyrie was having a great game or not. Game 3 scored, 31 points, 32 points in that game, and it still didn't matter because you basically took from everywhere else to give it to Kyrie. They never figured out how to make their offense complementary to 2 guys. I'm not saying you can't do it with 2 similar players, but somebody called the show a couple of days ago and pointed out that if you look at Luka's efficiency rating and Kyrie's efficiency rating, they were only at their highest when the other guy wasn't on the floor. And if I got 2 stars and I can't put them on the floor together, I got 1 star. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. And that's a very, very good point. And also in the Kyrie thing, he had a really good year this year. Who's to say he doesn't have, off the floor, but also on the floor, he had a good year. But who's to say that this upcoming year, we don't see little off-season Kyrie, little off-the-floor Kyrie come into play, right? Like, who's to say he doesn't go back to his old ways? Who's to say that he opens his mouth about something? Who's to say that he tries to just does something to disrupt the team? Like, that very much could happen again if you're Dallas. And then is Jason Kidd going to be able to wrangle him back in again? Can that happen? I don't know. Luka has a lot to work on mentally as well. No more complaining to the refs. So my friend told me this the other day, he goes, I think there should be a rule that as soon as you win an NBA title or MVP, you then have a right to complain to the refs. Like, that should be like a main rule. And I was like, that's a very good point. So I'm gonna apply that rule to Luka. That's it for him. I'm interested to see what they do. I want to say right now, like, they're the team to beat in the West. Rob, I still take 2 to 3 teams above them, even if they get maybe slightly better. But it's 2 to 3 teams. I think the Thunder, I think the Wolves, I think the Nuggets all would go vastly above anything that they do. And for ladies and gentlemen, please, this is June 19th. Please do not buy into the Phoenix Suns. Please do not buy into the Phoenix Suns. I will say again, do not buy into the Phoenix Suns.
I don't disagree. Here's my question. We all kind of felt that way this year, right? Like part of the reason I made the mistake of putting a couple of bets down. One was Mavs in 6. The other was Mavs in 7. 6 because I really thought it was a possibility. 7 because the odds were, for some reason, dramatically higher to win in 7. I guess because they would have had to do it in Boston. Because I got myself, and I'll ask you if you can explain why this happened. I got myself, Mario, to a spot where I went, I can't doubt Dallas. I doubted them against the Clippers, which is probably the one series I should not have doubted them in, was against LA. But I doubted them against the Clippers. I doubted them against the Thunder. Again, looking back, experience matters in the NBA playoffs. It's not a cliche anymore. It's just a fact. And then I think, as everybody else did, doubted them against Minnesota, and they won that series as well. 3 series in a row, I doubted Dallas. 3 series in a row, they won. Series number 4 against Boston was the one where I went, I'm not doubting this team anymore. And they got shellacked in that series. What was the difference? Is it Boston was that much better than everybody else? Would Boston have run roughshod through the West if they were over on that side? Was it something that changed? Is Joe Mazzulla just secretly a freaking Einstein of basketball? Like, what changed? What did I miss between the playoffs and the finals for the Dallas Mavericks?
Well, one, I don't blame you, because in the NBA, when in doubt, take the team that has the best player in the series, right? And Luka was the best player in this series, so you kind of got to lean that way. You got to go that way. I think what went wrong for you was the bench of the Mavericks versus the bench of the Celtics. That's where it kind of went wrong, right? Like, the bench of the Celtics is an experienced bench. Obviously, Mazzulla, I mentioned a couple weeks ago, we don't really know what Mazzulla's trick he had up his sleeve. Like, we really didn't know. We didn't see it, the secret lineup, if you will, that all these NBA coaches have when it comes playoff time. And Mazzulla's very early on, guys, we saw the secret thing he had was KP off the bench. And that's being the guy off the bench. And the Mavs didn't have a guy off the bench. What? You're going to rely on Josh Green Kleber, who with one shoulder, and a rookie Lively to come in and like do your scoring. They didn't play Hardaway until game 4 he came in and played, and he was a huge liability on the defensive side. So it was the bench of the Mavs that just didn't match up at all to the Celtics, and they were overwhelmed, to say the least. And I think that's what really killed the Mavs in the end. Is we're going to have to lean so hard into our top 2 guys. And you saw it like multiple times in games when Luka and Kyrie would have these huge first quarters and the Mavs would be up. And then as the game went on, you're like, oh man, like the Celtics are like that, UFC fighter, that boxer that just keeps applying pressure, and you're throwing good punches, but he's eating the punches and he's delivering more power back at you. There's, Sean Strickland's on the other side. So that kept happening. They kept dwindling down, and it's just the guys around the Mavs weren't champions yet. The Celtics guys were all champions. So I think that's the difference, is the bench.
All right, last one, and then we'll let you go. You got about 60 seconds to answer this. The Lakers. You heard me talk about them as well. Anthony Davis, I just don't think is the guy to be the guy. LeBron can't be a facilitator. He's still kind of got to be the guy. I don't think that's his game anymore. They get spurned by Hurley, who decides he wants to stay at UConn. We don't know if it was a leverage move. He swears it's not. Whatever. You're negotiating with UConn. Yes, it was. Now it looks like JJ Redick is back in the driver's seat of being the coach. This team's a disaster. This team's a train wreck. Is there any hope that the Lakers can get it turned around, or would it be a smart move for LeBron to get the hell up out of there this year?
I almost cussed. It's a clown show. It's a clown show. It's a disaster of an organization, and they're a bunch of idiots. Like, that's just what they are. It's a bunch. Pelinka's not smart. LeBron did le GM and ended up not being smart at all. Don't believe in them at all. JJ Redick comes in, great. I bet JJ will be a very fine coach if he wants to in the NBA. He's not going to be with the Lakers. They're handcuffed on everything they do in the future. The organization stinks. They stink. Do not buy into them. AD can have a great year. LeBron can have a great year. They will always stink. They're not real. They're not true. They're nothing. They're literally nothing. They're a shell of what they used to be. Don't buy into anything they do or anything they say. The Los Angeles Lakers are done for the foreseeable future.
Gosh, I hope one day I can help you come out of your shell and tell people how you really feel.
I can't stand the Lakers. I'm so happy Dan Hurley really gave him the bird and go, yeah. Offer me all this money in the world. Let me show you how embarrassing you guys are. The Los Angeles Lakers, I'll give you a call. You answer? No, I hung up on the first ring.
By the way, Mario, you're the executive producer of a nationally syndicated show. You can't almost cuss, bud. You got to be better than that. I've tried to help you all I can.
It's for the bit. It was for the bit.
Oh, that's what it is.
Yeah.
He didn't do it.
He didn't. He saved it.
It was testing me to see if I was.
That's what it was.
I mean,
producers looking out for each other.
Yeah.
I get it. Sorry. Executive producers looking out for each other.
There we go.
Let's make sure I get
you were about to be correct.
Hating ass Mario Herron is the executive producer of BetMGM tonight. He is also an NBA analyst for the BetQL network. When Mario joins us next week, we start turning our attention back towards the world of football. And I will expect a very thorough Copa America breakdown from you next week, Mario.
Sure.
You don't even know what that is, do you?
No, I do. Go America. We're taking it, baby.
All right. Just making sure.
We just need Argentina.
He knows more than I do.
Yeah, you do. Mario Herron for the BetQL network. You'll hear him tonight at 7 p.m. on BetMGM tonight. Thanks, big dog. See you next week.
Always a pleasure. See you tonight, Rob, at 7:20 on the BetQL network on BetMGM tonight.
You know it. Gosh, look at me. Radio mogul. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. Thank you, big dog. Good job.
Thank you, guys.
I taught you well.
Oh, you taught me more than you'll ever know. And Lonzo, the hair looks great today.
Not as good as yours.
That's true. You're very. It's like Mario moved to DC and he started taking showers.
Oh man, he woke up that way. That's awesome.
You probably did wake up for this, didn't you?
No, I woke up at 6:33 because so I love it though because I have natural light now for the first time ever. I'm a big natural light guy. So as soon as the sun hits me, I'm up. I'm a big natural light guy. I freaking love it, dude.
I also drink Natty Lights. I have not grown out of them. That's fair. That's fair. All right, brother. I'll talk to you tonight.
All right, I'll see you tonight.
See you, buddy. Mario. What a dude. What a bro. All right, guys, give me 30 seconds. I'll be right back. Stay right there for me. anyway.
All those people going to Chicken Salad Chick. Well, I guess some of them are going to the whatever that place is. What'd you say that was? Dentist office? He's not really listening to me, but that's fine.
Dentist office or what
is that right there?
It is a dentist office.
Okay.
And the chicken salad place is next to it.
Yeah, I know that.
And it looks like that parking lot's full. So
a lot of people schedule their dentist appointments today, apparently. All NBA forward Pascal Siakam intends to sign a new 4-year deal
with
the C's.
Come on. Really? The Celtics?
No.
Oh.
I'm sorry, the Sirs.
Sirs.
I messed up.
Wait a minute.
I messed up. I can't remember. I know it was something like that. Even when I try to be corny, I can't be because I'm just too sarcastic. Can you be sarcastic and corny? I suppose you can.
Good night.
Close. Just a half hour more of the Wednesday edition of the Rob Brown Radio Show right here on the Fan Upstate. I am Rob Brown. The great Lonzo is here as well. We are glad to have you.
I'm going home.
Again, half an hour. Just half an hour to go, my dudes and dudettes. So a few more things that I would like to get to on the radio program before we get up out of here for the day.
Poof.
Have you seen this Brandon Ayuk stuff?
They don't want me, man.
They don't want me, man. Why don't he want me, man?
Nah, don't go there.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, don't go there.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that hits close to me. So,
I know.
Yeah, so don't do that.
That Will Smith episode of Fresh Prince was a punch in the nads.
Especially for people who've been in that same situation.
Yeah,
so.
Punch in the nads. So if you have missed it, Brandon Ayuk posted a video to his social media on Monday morning. That video was taken by a young lady off to the side during a conversation between Brandon Ayuk and Washington Commanders rookie quarterback Jaden Daniels. Now, the reason why was because Ayuk played with Jaden Daniels at Arizona State back in 2019. In the clip, Ayuk tells the recent number 2 overall pick that, quote, "They said they don't want me back, I swear," end quotes. Now, the video is 27 seconds long. Was posted to the social media. In the clip, you can also hear the young lady saying, "He got me vlogging this," and then it gets posted. This clip then sent the NFL world into quite the tizzy. And it got sent into quite the tizzy because of two things. Obviously, the folks in the world of the 49ers, for whom Brandon Ayuk has been a massive part of the offense, got all excited because their number 1 wide receiver apparently has hit not just a snag, but a full-on roadblock in the negotiations between he and said football team. Everybody else got excited because Brandon Ayuk might be back on the market. Brandon Ayuk might be a guy that could come to your team and add a spot. Now, this is very similar to what Deebo Samuel did during his contract extension negotiations a couple of years ago. Ayuk has not hit the demanding a trade aspect as of yet, but the 49ers have been here before. They have been through this before. And so there is a thought that maybe because they are playing the game and they have won the game, as former South Carolina Gamecock Deebo Samuel is still a San Francisco 49er quarterback, maybe they feel like, quarterback, wide receiver. I mean, can be a quarterback if they needed to, and a running back.
You can do everything.
And a slot back, and a wide receiver, and a kick returner, and whatever the hell else they need him to be. The point here is that San Francisco has been there, has done that, and has played that game. And like I said, I think won it by keeping him on board. They were able to have Deebo take his request trade back at the time. It kind of heightened the I don't know what's the word I'm looking for here, tension between the two sides before they ultimately were able to get the deal done. This Ayuk thing is interesting to me. Not because of the situation with the San Francisco 49ers, although that is obviously the foundation of what is happening here. It is interesting to me because I watched this video. And I found myself in Alonzo headspace. Lonzo headspace, not Alonzo headspace. I watched this video, great one. And do you know what the first thought that I had was? Oh, he said, screw your build up, bud. There's breaking news. Let's go.
I mean, that was a perfect shot right there.
It was the right place to do it. Now everybody's got to hang on through this breaking news to get there.
After one season, the Detroit Pistons have dismissed coach Monty Williams.
No shock.
He leaves with a 5-year, $65 million plus left on his deal. So there you go. According to Adrian Wojnarowski.
Washbomb! Not a shock at all. Not a shock at all.
Pretty soon, my prediction is going to come true, and Dallas's coach will be fired. You'll see, and then you'll have to apologize to me.
I will vehemently do so if Jason Kidd is fired. Just like I said, Boston's won this series. This series is over, and you said I was wrong and called me out, and yada yada yada. And then you apologize profusely when Boston put this thing away at 5.
No, that's
just like same situation.
That's not
same thing.
Okay, but
same thing.
But see, I could go back and say, yeah, but you're a knower of ball, and you said Dallas was going to win this in 6 or 7. I did,
and then I got it right. 5 years, $65 million on his deal. He will get paid out for it. But they got a new president in Detroit. Like that's you don't want to come in, keep that guy who has accomplished little to nothing for Detroit. Only to have him fail again, and that be the first decision that you have moved. Yes, it's going to cost you a lot of money, but if you're the new prez, you want control.
We should contact our expert on this and see what he has to say.
We should. You want to text him? You want to call him for me? Call him up, see if he'll come on. Here is.
You think he'll accept my text? It's airtime, man.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
He'll do it.
I'll go on air with people I hate if it gets me on air. All right. When we come back, I will tell you
he was not implying anything when he said that. That was unfortunate. No, his wording was unfortunate.
I'm just saying airtime's airtime.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah, that's it.
So when we come back, by the way, breaking news brought to you our friends at BetQL. Be a better, be smarter, beat the books. Get the BetQL app now, and don't forget to listen to Bet for the Cycle, which airs every single Saturday from noon to 4 on the BetQL network with former Major League Baseball player Cody Decker and notably handsome co-host Rob Brown, and of course on fine stations everywhere.
Never heard of the guy.
When we come back, I will tell you the immediate thought that I had regarding this Brandon Ayuk story that has made it so interesting to me. That's coming up next. And then I've got about 3 other NFL stories that I would like to run through before we ask what the X is going on and get up out of here for the day on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. I also did not accept that nickname for the Indiana basketball team or baseball team, frankly.
You know what I should be doing right now? Eating breakfast.
I should be sleeping right
No, well, no, I'd be eating breakfast at this point. Yeah. Whatever.
Lazy.
Yep, that's me. Noted lazy person. Got 25 more minutes to make you pay for your decision.
Many patients lose 20 to 30 pounds in about a month. That's a half a pound to a pound per day. For your free private weight loss consultation, call 864-719-2550. That's 864-719-2550 or mynewlifeweightloss.com.
The TTI Tool Sale is back. Top brands at huge savings on power tools, floor care products, and outdoor power equipment. Friday 9 to 6 and Saturday 9 till the tools are gone. Exit 27 Anderson at the intersection of Ryobi and Highway 81. Credit card only, no cash accepted. Subject to product availability and weather.
When people have a craving to explore new and traditional Asian cuisines, they head to P.F. Chang's, where scratch-made dishes come from the 2,000-year-old tradition of wok cooking. P.F. Chang's wanted to explore new possibilities for their website. They turned to AmericanEagle.com. AmericanEagle.com re-architected P.F. Chang's website, integrating multiple third-party systems to create a unified digital experience. The results? Improved page speed and performance, personalized content based on users' location, intuitive online ordering, an increase in organic search visibility, and a 40% increase in new users. For scratch-made Asian cuisine, visit your local P.F. Chang's or go to pfchangs.com for website design, development, digital marketing, and hosting that produces
NYPD arrests Florida man for throwing chair off of high rise. Caught on video. Why, yes, I want to watch that video because I'm curious. What happens to the chair when it hits the ground?
That is the first thought I had.
Yeah.
If I threw a chair off a balcony, it is for one reason and one reason alone. The same reason we throw other stuff off of stuff. I am almost 40 years old, and I take no pleasure in anything as much as I take pleasure in finding a rock and throwing it off of a high surface into a lake. If I'm on a bridge and you hand me a rock, that rock is going in that water.
All right,
just
right,
to see the splash.
but not a bridge over a highway.
No, into water.
Yeah.
I mean, like off of a bridge onto like other rocks.
Yeah, there you go. Am I watching the wrong? Oh, there we go. There we go. Okay. Whoa.
All right, couple more things to run through here on the Rob Brown Show in the fan upstate. Robin Lonzo with you. This Brandon Ayuk thing. I told you a little bit about it before we got that breaking news. Monty Lee out at Monty Lee. That's a different guy. He's still there in his job. Monty Williams, however, has been canned by the Detroit Pistons. No shock. They were awful, and they have new front office administration who wants to start his new gig with a new coach of his own selection. I will tell you, the number one reason that I regret not getting into coaching is severance packages. Monty's about to get paid $65 million to not coach basketball. That sounds really good gig, like a really good gig. Anyway, let's get into some other stuff before we get up out of here. The Brandon Ayuk thing. The video gets posted. Brandon Ayuk tells his former college quarterback and new Washington Commanders QB, Jaden Daniels, they don't want me. They said they don't want me back, I swear. There's another young lady in the background filming it who says, he got me vlogging this. It was posted to the social media. Like I mentioned, the internet broke over this video, everybody talking about it. And the first thought that I had, I ended up being Lonzo for just a mere few minutes. It's like being John Malkovich, but less terrifying. Was, it's a work, dude. It's a work. This is a scripted video. This is a scripted video. This is a staged video. Why else would homegirl be filming just a regular FaceTime of Brandon Ayuk talking to his old quarterback unless there was, I'm going to do this and say something to try to kick the tires to get this money at this point? Brandon Ayuk was, according to KNBR out of San Francisco, was offered a $26 million a year contract extension. That number is lower than Jalen Waddle of the Dolphins. It is lower than Amon-Ra St. Brown of the Lions for a wide receiver that I would argue is probably more talented than both of them. This all also came out very shortly after ESPN reporter Jeremy Fowler reported that negotiations between Brandon Ayuk and the San Francisco 49ers had stalled. Fowler issued that report on ESPN, and the Ayuk TikTok clip came up shortly after that. I don't really have a point in saying this other than, number one, quarterbacks are paid on potential, wide receivers are paid on performance. Brandon Ayuk's performance has been exceptional, and I don't see a reason why San Francisco wouldn't pay him other than the fact that the guy's worth the money and they have to spread it around because they built such a juggernaut on offense that they have to split the resources up. And number two, this is why Lonzo and I, more Lonzo than I, tell you, look at everything with a skeptical lens, all right? Look at everything through an eye. Don't panic if you're a 49ers fan, and don't get jazzed up if you're a not 49ers fan that this means Brandon Ayuk is in play for you. No, it doesn't. I don't think the 49ers have any intention of letting a top 5 wide receiver in the league walk in a way that's going to break on TikTok.
He has me vlogging this. She might actually talk that way normally. I don't know, but it seemed kind of, like she practiced.
That's what she said. She said very loudly.
She did. Well, she probably had to practice that too.
Yeah. Here's one that I want the great one's opinion on so far. Reports are out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, that Justin Fields is now very clearly and well behind Russell Wilson as QB1 because Justin Fields has apparently been struggling to pick up the Steeler offense, whereas Russell Wilson has been shining in it so far. It was reported by Mark Caboli, a Steelers beat writer for The Athletic, that, quote, Wilson did nothing through 12 practices to even slightly indicate that he could lose the quarterback competition to Justin Fields. The work ethic, the experience, the arm talent, and the fact that he basically took all of the first team snaps strongly suggest that nothing Wilson can do between July 24th and September 8th would prevent him from starting, end quote. He went on to say, quote, you couldn't have asked for much more out of Wilson during OTAs and minicamp on the field and off it. His leadership is more than noticeable, and that's been true since the first day he showed up. What stood out was his arm talent, whether it was a throw in the flat, at the goal line, or down the field. Caboli went on to say about Fields, quote, don't get bent out of shape with Fields finding himself on this list. His talent speaks for itself, but Unlike Wilson, he has a lot of obstacles to overcome for an opportunity this year. Fields didn't get many first-team reps, and that's significant come training camp. More than that, you can see what made him a first-round pick and also what made the Chicago Bears move on. The arm strength, speed, and playmaking with his legs are undeniable. However, he showed inconsistent accuracy and relied on his feet too quickly after the first read. That stuff can be fixed, but maybe not throughout a training camp, end quote. I am 0% shocked by this. If it is true, it is the opinion of one beat writer and nobody else so far. But this is exactly what I was worried about. It is going to take Justin Fields some time. And by the way, I placed this on the Bears, not Justin Fields. Much like I did Trevor Lawrence, placing it on Urban Meyer, much like I did every quarterback that was under Matt Rule or Frank Reich. I placed this on the franchise, not on the quarterback himself. I don't think this is a Justin Fields issue. I think this is a Bears issue, but it is an issue that because of the Bears, Justin Fields is going to take some time to figure it out.
Here's how we're going to know if he has a legitimate chance to supplant Russell Wilson. And that's, Russell Wilson's probably not going to play hardly any preseason at all. Does Justin Fields play a ton of preseason? Because then you have a chance to prove that he deserves to be the starter. If he doesn't, just plays like, maybe one quarter and then they spend the rest of the time playing the other guys, then they're not giving him a fair chance.
I mean, I think fair chances are earned, right? And he and Russell Wilson showed up in the same scenario, which is a couple of big names that did not work out at their last franchise. I don't know this for a fact.
Why do you bring him in unless you think, I just want this guy as a backup? Why do you bring both them in? Because you don't have extreme confidence in one or the other.
Nope, that is not why to me. I bring him in because I am trying to keep the 0 losing season streak alive for Mike Tomlin. And because Russell Wilson is more predicated and capable of doing that in the short term, Justin Fields is a guy that I can believe I can have on my roster for the long term. I don't think Russell Wilson's got 5 more years in him. I think he's got 2 or 3 more years in him, which also means that's 2 or 3 years I have to develop Justin Fields as a starter. Because, again, with Trevor Lawrence, with Bryce Young, you can see the impact that a toxic coaching staff and front office has on the development of a quarterback more than any other position. You don't just have to get Justin Fields ready to play in Pittsburgh. You've got to deprogram him from the Chicago stuff and then reprogram him the Pittsburgh stuff. And I do think that's a multi-year process, which is why I've said, unless there is an injury, I think Russell Wilson is your year-long starter this year, maybe next year, because that's an offseason to deprogram him from Chicago, Justin Fields, and another offseason to program him for Pittsburgh. And then 2 years from now I've got a guy that can compete for QB1, and I've got Russell Wilson, who at that point is going to be up there in age. He is 35 now. He will be 37, almost 30, actually 38 by the time that season is ready to roll. At that point, I expect Russell Wilson to fall off. This is a deprogram, reprogram. It is going to take 2. This is my thing with Bryce Young, too. It is not just about Bryce Young learning the Dave Canales regime's way. It's about deprogramming the Frank Reich way out of him and then reprogramming him. The good news is, and I'm not saying this is not true about Justin Fields, but the good news is Bryce Young is known for being a cerebral guy and being able to learn and pick things up very, very quickly. I don't know. I mean, I know Justin Fields is a smart cat. He's not an idiot, but I don't know that he is at that level with Bryce Young in terms of the cognitive processing of the game. I believe that I can deprogram and reprogram Bryce in an offseason, especially with Dave Canales, a known quarterback guy. Mike Tomlin's not a known quarterback guy. He's not a known offensive guy. I think it takes a little longer. I think as much as I think Russell Wilson can help the Pittsburgh Steelers compete, maybe in the division, it's a really good division. As much as I think he can help them compete and he can win as the quarterback of the Steelers, I also think he's a bridge quarterback to Justin Fields, and I think it's a great system for Pittsburgh.
Russell Wilson right now, and Justin Fields would be too, are the worst quarterbacks in that division.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
So, I mean, we'll see.
Yep.
We will see.
You ain't wrong.
And now, Rob Brown Show presents Twitter.
Now it's time for me to ask Rob something I shouldn't have time to ask him, but he wanted to work today. The first thing that's Xing is Spaceballs 2.
Listen, Spaceballs on the list of spoof movies to this day remains one of the best. It remains one of the best.
What's the matter, Colonel Sanders? Chicken?
To this day, I will very frequently say multiple lines from that movie. It remains untouchable. Everything Mel Brooks did was good. There's not a bad Mel Brooks movie. This one, for me, as a big Star Wars guy, way at the top of the list. And if you are going to give me another Spaceballs, assuming that no one is going to show up and tell Mel Brooks what he's not allowed to do, and you're going to let Mel Brooks be the comedic genius that he is, I mean it when I say, I'm assuming this is going to be like a Netflix movie.
It is, and Mel Brooks and Josh Gad are working on it.
I like Josh Gad a lot too.
So is Josh Gad going to replace John Candy? I think he might be able to. I mean, I don't know.
If you make Josh Gad barf, it's about the bet. And by the way, barf's the name of the character, not physically make him yak. If you make Josh Gad barf, I'm trying to think. That's about the best replacement. And I don't think you make him barf. I think you make him like son of barf or whatever. But I think that's about as good as you can ask for in that situation.
Part of Barf's litter, probably.
Yes,
for sure.
I would be. I am all about it. That is a movie that I can tell you. There's stuff that comes out now, and I'm like, I'm going to get to it when I get to it. I got a lot of wrestling. I got a lot of TV shows. I'm trying to keep up with whatever. I'll get to it when I get to it. If Spaceballs 2 is brought by Mel Brooks and he is not hampered or limited by a studio going, oh, you can't do that, Mel, I will sit down the minute that Spaceballs 2 drops and watch it.
Only works if he can bring Moranis out of retirement, and I don't know they can. The next thing that's Xing is Happy Hump. I didn't look it up. I do realize it's Wednesday, but it's not Happy Hump Day. It's just Happy Hump.
Kate the Oilers girl is trending.
Wow.
By the way, you can buy Dark Well, I don't know if it's still up, but apparently at one point, Dark Helmet's helmet was up for auction, and it did so well that now people have made Dark Helmet helmets that you can buy, and I want one.
I have really thought about having the Upstate Pulse dress up as the cast from Spaceballs.
I like that.
To go to Comic-Con. Obviously, you know who I'll be.
I like that a lot.
But Matthew as
your barf.
Yeah, I am. But Matthew is Darth Helmet.
I like that. I just looked it up. You can buy a Dark helmet for just a low price of $9,000.
Matthew is Dark Helmet. It would be amazing. I bet you can make it. I mean, why not?
He would make a good Dark Helmet.
He would.
You would make an excellent barf.
I know.
Excellent barf.
I know. All right. The next thing is Xing, unfortunately, is Justin Timberlake.
Justin Timberlake arrested for DWI. He came out of the courthouse and he went into the courthouse and he went in front of the judge. I just learned this yesterday. And apparently, for whatever reason, the first question that he had for the judge was, when will I be able to drive again? And the judge said, oh, it's going to be May. Bang!
Waited all day for that one. That was actually pretty
That's
good.
Been in the chamber the whole time.
That was pretty good. You're just waiting for me to all right, and the last thing.
I was crossing my fingers. JT was on the list.
Well, I'm glad
Don't drink and drive. I will punch you in the face. You're a bad person if you do that. Just get an Uber.
One last thing. Joe Hendry is trending.
We didn't believe hard enough. It's our fault. All right? It's our fault. When Joe Hendry next shows up on TNA or NXT or wherever he shows up next, I need you all to believe in Joe Hendry. And I don't care if you're in Tokyo or Canada or Mexico, wherever you are, say his name, he will appear. I believe in Joe Hendry. I also believe that tomorrow's show is going to be an excellent. Rashad Beard at 8:40 to talk Panthers. Lonzo brings us Fight Club at 9:20. I may have one other very special guest lined up tomorrow. I will let you know if I get that confirmation today. It's going to be a good day. So we hope to see you tomorrow because you believe in Rob Brown. See you back here tomorrow on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate later. Yeah! Man, what a day, guys. What a day. We nailed that one.
Whatever.
Nailed that one. All right.
Now he's going to be in a hurry to get out of here.
Mac listening to Hating Ass Mario at 2x speed. Amazing.
I bet he didn't sound like a chipmunk because he's already laid back. I bet he didn't. He probably just sounded a little slower.
I'm a big listen to a podcast at 1.75 speed guy because it can turn a 30-minute podcast into 20, and that's phenomenal for me. But there are a lot of hosts, and I have been told that I am one of them that speak too quick naturally for the 1.75 to play. Like, you have to listen to me at regular speed. I don't know what you want me to tell you. Can't change it. Can't help it. Will the Braves make any moves before the trade deadline, or will they say the same? No, they'll definitely make a move. That's the Alex Anthopoulos way. Now, what that move is, I don't know. I think pitching has to be it, right? The Braves right now, as much as it'll be an outfield bat and or a starting pitcher. I think they've got to find one, right? Like Schwellenbach looked real good yesterday. And I think it's good that you can start to lean on Spencer Schwellenbach. I wish Hudson Waldrop would have had the same impact. He just was not developed and ready yet. So I think bringing him back to high A ball and giving him a chance to continue to develop is the right move. So I think you got to find a vet starting pitcher. The problem is, because of the last couple of years, the farm system isn't quite as stacked with tradable pieces as I would like. So I don't know what the move is. I'll tell you what I could find interesting. Marcell Ozuna getting traded, right? Because you got enough bats that you can put into the DH spot that you can move Ozuna, a guy that I don't think the Braves want to bring back next year anyway. And you could probably get a hefty piece for a guy that is second in the DH in the NL All-Star votes right now. So I think Ozuna could be moved, and that could be like your home run piece to move. But that's just a theory. That's not a guarantee. So, but yes, the Braves are absolutely going to make a move at the trade deadline. That's what Anthopoulos does. And frankly, they have to. They just have to. So we'll see what happens. They need an outfield bat, and they need a starting pitcher. All right, that's going to do it for us. Y'all are amazing people. Thanks for being here. Have a lovely rest of your day. Tell your friends about us. Help us grow the show. We'll see you back here tomorrow to do it all over again, but better. Goodbye.